Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this special combined edition of Drive Time and Pretenders and Contenders. I'm joined right now by our hosts of all the shows on here. Well, Midnight Rider will join us a little bit later because he also joins in with Coach Devon. So I'm going to do a quick hello of everyone else and then what this show is all about. Then we're going to start bringing in our guests here one at one and get this thing underway. I appreciate everyone's time tonight. So again, welcome. And so let's start off with some quick intros. Showtime, Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's definitely been a morning for sure. Going through some thunderstorms right now, so hopefully we stay connected throughout this amazing show we have for today. But we'll see.
It's a morning that is because it's been such a bad morning. It's already 6 o'clock at night. You didn't even realize it. So that's how long it's been for you. So, Scooter, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really looking forward to today, asking everyone a bunch of questions. And it's been one hell of a week for sports in general, with soccer/football, if you will. We had golf, we had NASCAR, baseball was going crazy. There's a lot of NFL talk going on, and there's even SEC talk for football. So it's one heck of a week. So I'm ready.
Yeah, it has, and we'll get into back into our normal scheduled programming here later. Coach, can you hear us? Coach Devon, can you hear? All right, Coach, if you can come back, you might have to go out and come back in yourself because now you can't hear. So we're three of our coaches are literally on the field right now wrapping up a practice. So that's how committed they are to their sport. So while Coach figures that out and gets that back situated, let me go ahead real quickly and kind of talk about what the show is about. So this is Behind the Whistles, the summit. With that being said, we are here to kind of, bring it to light what is really going on. And I want to also real quick give a shout out to the gentleman, Jack. This was an idea that he even had with us back in the day too, of getting coaches, officials together in one spot, because if you don't know, across the board, we have a lot of officials that are just dropping out. So there's a referee shortage. And I thought, what better way to have this go than to have all of us here and kind of talk through some different things. So we're gonna have coaches on board. We're gonna have officials on board from all types of different sports. Sarah is going to be monitoring the chat, bringing up any good comments. If you're watching and you have a comment, please, please, please feel free to put the comments in. Just know we may not get to every single comment. We may not show every comment just because we're going to have so many people, on this panel. We want to keep the show kind of tight. So just keep that in mind as we move through the show. If anything comes up, along the way, we are more than welcome to go over that. So let's go ahead here. I'm going to first bring in Coach. Can you hear us now? Coach Devon, you there? I don't know if we can hear. I hear him or somebody back there. All right, so I'm going to bring in some of our officials. The first guy that I'm going to bring in is Aaron Sugar. Now he does some soccer. Aaron is down in the Georgia area, and he is our soccer official. So Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Hope how's the weather going on down in Georgia?
Hot. This is middle of July. You don't want to be outside. You end up wearing the weather, as we like to say.
I know. Good luck with all that. So, Sarah, I'm going to bow you out real quick, just so that way we have more space here, because you're going to be our behind the scenes person. So let me take her out. Let's get her in there. Now I'm bringing in Mike Mankey. He is my football guy. So for our football coaches, I think they're going to have a lot of fun with Mike. Mike does a referee, if I remember correctly, you do all the way up through high school here in Ohio, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So how are you doing this fine, lovely evening?
Not too bad. Survived the smoke from Canada, so all good.
Okay. And of course, I'm your third official. I'm on the hockey side of things, but we are definitely here to do that for most of the people that have watched the show know, what I do and everything like that. So the last official I want to bring in here is Dwayne Marcus. He is the owner president of Just Us Sports Officials, DCSAA football rules interpreter. So he does football, he does basketball, and he's got a lot of great programs going. And I am super excited to have him on this panel. And this makes up your official side of things. So Dwayne, how are you doing this fine evening? Oh, you're on mute. There you go. You got it there. Unmute yourself, Dwayne. There you go.
Sorry. Thanks for having me, guys. I said go refs. That's the part you didn't hear, but I'm excited about this conversation. It's something that we'll talk about later. It's part of an agenda I'm doing something later on early August. So happy to be a part of the discussion.
Yep. And real quick, before I bring our coaches in, I see that somebody just popped in real quick. The gentleman Jack popped in real quick. So the gentleman Jack, how are you doing today, sir?
Matty, I'm well. I'm very well. Hey, Scooter, how's it going? Dwayne, Mike, Aaron. Hello, everyone.
The gentleman's in the house.
I'm glad that you came on board because I had a baseball guy that bowed out last minute, and he got Dwayne on board with us, which I'm super excited about. So I appreciate your help on that. But like I was talking about at the beginning, a lot of this show does go back to something that you and I had talked about of getting this together, and so I'm glad you're able to come on real quick and give and do that. So thank you for coming on. Now let's see here if we can get him back on here. I know these guys that are on the field are having a little bit of fun. So let's see now. Let's do this. Why don't you, Scooter, I'm going to let you intro the coaches. Why don't you bring Steve in and let's go from there.
Steve, we got Coach Steve Rapp of the Wise High School in Maryland. You've been honored by the Commanders for like head coach of the week for them. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir. Also won coach of the year, man. Not that that matters or anything, though.
Awesome to have you on. Okay, then let's go. Who do you want to go to next, Maddie?
Let's see if we can get our coach, the coach of the show, back in here. Coach Devon, can you hear us now?
Coach Devon.
Yes, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, we can.
So if I get anything incorrect, please just interrupt me. Let me know, because some of you nice fellas I just met this evening. So I want to make sure I get everything right.
Scooter, you messed up on the intro to Coach Rapp. He's the greatest coach in Maryland history. You got to hype him up a little bit more than what you did.
Yeah. Understood.
Stop it.
And then I get that you guys are playing each other every year, so that's pretty awesome.
We two to be exact.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's looking forward to it because my quarterback said he was looking forward to that game. So
we got some nice rivalry going on there. Now, Coach Devon, you're the head football coach out there at Laurel.
yes, head football coach at Law. I've been here as the head football coach. This is going into my third season, and prior to that, I was the JV head coach for 10 years.
Well, that's awesome. Have you done lacrosse too?
Yeah, I coached lacrosse, basketball.
Really?
Yeah, I coached lacrosse at I did a private school for 2 years at St. Vincent Pallotti High School, and then when PG County adopted lacrosse back into the county, I was the law coach for the first 3 seasons.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Now, did you also, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're assistant basketball coach?
Yes, assistant basketball coach as well.
What did you guys do in 2025?
2025, we won the state championship, first state championship for basketball in 45 years at Law High School. So that was a big accomplishment for us.
That's pretty awesome.
I got to feel like Coach Rapp. He got several state championships over there. So I got to see what he felt.
That's awesome. That's so good. All right, Maddie, who do we got next?
All right, so let's see if Coach Rowe is here and available. Let's see if we can get him on here. Coach Rowe, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. We're doing good. Go ahead. All right, Scooter, there you go.
So, Coach Rowe, it's Coach Roland Stannard or Stannard?
Mute.
Stannard. It's Roland Stannard.
Stannard. Okay, thanks, Coach Rowe. That's awesome. Now you do. You're a football coach for like youth, and you do basketball and football. What? Tell us a little about what you do out there.
Yes. Treasurer as well as the basketball coach and football coach for the Laurel Wildcats as well as the Laurel High School. I'm the offensive varsity line coach at the Laurel High School. Here in the Laurel Boys and Girls Club, we have ages 7 through 13 that we have for our football team. Basketball, the same ages. So we're just trying to make sure that the Laurel have a good opportunity and good place to play.
Yeah, that's doing that for the kids is just really, I remember growing up being in Pop Warner and doing like youth soccer, youth basketball. It was a big deal for me. And locally around here, up in Wilmington, Delaware, and Newark, Delaware, they have a lot of the police athletic leagues, try to get the kids into something really fun to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do here.
That's awesome. God bless you. Who we got next, Maddie?
All right, so we got 10 people in the studio, so Marcus is out. So what we're gonna do real quick, Jack, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask you to bow out so then we can get
Yes, sir.
Marcus in for the good stuff. So Jack, here's a good question I got for you, because I know throughout with your show that you've done a lot of traveling, to the different, to different venues and different games. So what my question for you is, what do you see as far as, and we're going to get more into the parent side later, but I do want to attack this real quick with you. What's your vibe when you're out there? Like, what do you see between coaches and officials and parents and officials and parents and coaches? Like, what vibe are you just observing while you're out there?
Okay. And I feel you left out one equation, players and officials
Sure.
as well.
Absolutely.
What I see is these kids learn things from TV through professional football, college football, and they're, everybody wants a flag. Everybody wants a flag. You see a lot of complaining from the kids. Back when I played, you didn't talk to the official. You didn't talk back to officials. The respect was there. I feel it's lost a little bit with the players. No, I'm not saying some of them don't have great relationships with officials. I've seen that too. And I feel sometimes the aggressiveness between parents and coaches towards officials, it's not right. This is just a job. This is high school ball. This is rec ball. Whatever level it is, it's not the Super Bowl. It's not the end of all end alls. So I feel the kids wanting calls all the time, and the coaches and parents. I've seen parents follow officials all the way out to the parking lot at games. They did it actually at that special event I went to at Washington Nationals complex in Southeast. Two parents followed a umpire all the way out to the parking lot. I thought that was a bit extreme, but it was handled. It was handled by the coaches, which I was happy and proud of that. Yeah, that's the way I feel it. The respect isn't there like it was. And I know I'm the old man shaking my fist at the clouds saying, back in the day, but I just don't feel the respect for the officials is there in today's sports.
Yep, and that's where we're at with this whole idea, because in case you don't know, most, and this is across the board, 30% of guys that are in the first year of officiating, and ladies, don't come back for year two. And that is a problem as all these sports move forward. 80% of officials don't make it to year 5. So that's a lot that get in and then drop out. And that means, we don't have guys for it. Now, look, and we'll get into this here a little bit later on about, what officials do that maybe don't help themselves, because there is some of that too, right? Like there are some officials out there that may not be out there for the right reasons, as we talk about. So, Jack, how about the one last question for you? Then I want to make sure we get Coach Marcus in here too. So what do you think, for like we talked about the parent side of it, what's one thing that you do see well, like where coaches and officials are communicating well? Like how does that look to you while you're out there watching?
I'm gonna go to the rec level on this question, because I see, as you say, new umpires, first, second, third year umpires. I see new umpires actually trying to put teaching moments into the younger ages games. I'm talking, say 8 years old to 11 years old. It's not all about you're out of the baseline. You did this, you dropped the ball. They actually give a little bit of teaching moments. And I like seeing that out of officials. And I think that can give an official a better thought from, the community, the families, the parents, the coaches, if they, have a cool. I mean, when I coached at the rec over here, my daughter, I coached her for 7 years. So I had 7 years of this, the same umpires. So you got to know them, you talk to them pregame, you might even have a beer with them after the game. But there's some officials that I feel do it too long. I mean, we had an umpire here that his girlfriend had to help him get his shin guards on. I I mean, if she got help to get your shin guards on, he couldn't wipe the plate. He asked the catcher to wipe the plate for him. It was just getting time. And stuff like that can get coaches upset and irked, by just not being in condition to do it. You got to get out from behind the plate on an infield hit. You can't just stand back there. So I think that's what's up. There is respect. There is respect and there's not respect. I think the older the kids get, the less they start to respect them.
And that's what we're hoping to do here tonight, Jack, for sure, is start building some of that respect and getting that rapport going between both sides of it. So, Jack, real quick, I know you got a big show coming up later tonight. I want to give you a quick second. Go ahead and give a quick little plug, and then I'm going to let you go so we can get Marcus back in here.
Okay, sounds good. I got a point guard from the number one team in the country, Nair McCoy. She's also the number one AAU team in the country, Team Takeover. That squad they got over there at McNamara, I see them contending again for another national championship. They got so much talent there. If anybody ever gets a chance to go out to Forestville and check out a game, they got a beautiful facility. It's amazing. So, Nair McCoy is going to be on. She's committed to Mississippi State. So she just made that announcement a couple of days ago. I'm so happy for her. That's what I got going on right there, Maddie. Thank you for giving me the time.
All right. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you for coming on and joining us for a little bit. Like I said, without you, I'm not sure that this would have gotten fully off the ground.
No.
Back when. So been looking forward to this.
Buddy.
All right, buddy.
Dwayne, I'll catch up to you. I'm sorry I didn't get that meeting yesterday. Something come up, and I'll get up with you. Okay, Dwayne?
It's all good, man. I'm on your time. Okay. Just let me know.
All right, everybody have a good evening.
Thank you, Gentleman Jack. And he'll be in the comments too, I'm sure, as we keep moving on forward, but I want to make sure we get our other refs. So while we're getting Marcus back in here, this is how I want to start this off, because we talked about this building rapport and stuff like that. So I don't want it to be a negative thing. So we're going to get the negativity out of the way right away. All right, so for my officials, raise your hand if you've ever had a situation with a coach where maybe we didn't handle it quite the way that we'd want to, or the way that would have gone the way that we thought would be well. So if we've had that happen as an official, please raise your hand. And I'm going to assume that every official if you can see him, we all have our arm up of, this is our bad. We've had that happen. Now, coaches.
You mean coaches on this call or coaches in general?
Well, hey, if you're watching this live and you want to do that, like, sure, you can raise your hand. That's great. But now for my coaches, who has had a situation with an official that maybe they didn't quite handle that situation with the official quite the way to get a positive outcome? Raise your hand, coaches.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So there we go. So we're not going to bring up any of those negative stories. Like, this is all about learning ways to do that. Okay. So with that being said, Sarah, roll through the comments real quick. And then Scooter, I'm turning it over to you. Oh, wait, Marcus is on, right? You're in there, Marcus?
Yes, sir.
All right, Marcus, give a quick intro real quick, and then Sarah roll with the comments, and then Scooter's going to get us going.
Hey, I'm Marcus Jackson. I coach football, wrestling, and baseball.
Nope, you got too far away from your wherever you're at in the field. You got too far away. There you are. You're back. Okay.
Go again?
Yeah, we lost you there a little bit.
Like I said, my name is Marcus Jackson. I coach football, wrestling, and baseball up at Lowell High School.
Excellent. Thank you again for joining us, Marcus. Glad you're able to do so. All right, Sarah, roll through some comments real quick. Of course, you got the like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. I can't even read it in my hand. Right?
That's for me.
That's for you.
Uptown, stand up.
I love it. Let me pull these up so I can see. I don't know why my screen is so slow. This amazing platform. You should check out the High School Soccer Champions League movement. I love that. Thanks, Coach Mo. Rick Fobbs, referee with you. So welcome, Rick. I'm glad you were able to join us on the show here live. All right. I think that's all of them, right? Perfect. All right. So with that said, Scooter, let's go ahead with some questions.
Okay. Well, first, we're here for this summit is just to bring us coaches and officials together. You're going to discuss the issues that you deal with on a daily basis. We are going to learn how you coaches officiate with communication positively with each other, and sometimes we want to know how you guys deal with coaches and the officials together in a positive way. So let's get this started, right?
Let's do it.
Okay. So this is segment 1 of 3 segments that we're going to run through. Okay. First here, this is for the coaches here. Any coaches here felt either another coach or official was out of line?
Who wants to take it?
Looks like Coach Rowe had his hand up first.
Okay.
And then Coach Rapp.
Again, it's not to bash anybody, but I know there are different attitudes that a lot of officials take towards different coaches. They can be out of line with some of the words that they say. But again, coaches, we can be as well. But again, it's not a bashing session. So go ahead, Coach Rapp.
All right, am I tagging in now?
Yep, go ahead, buddy.
All right, I think all of this comes back to as a coach, right? Because I want to kind of touch on what the gentleman Jack said. Like, I think the respect for the officials starts with the head coach and the culture and the program. All right. So the official is no different than how the assistant coaches are respected or anybody else into the program. So I think that the relationship with the official and the coach most of the time is on the coach to set the precedent of, hey, this is what it's going to be today. But I think like anything else, right? Coaches coach football, officials ref the sport. So we can't have the sport without the coach, and we can't have the game without the official. So ultimately, right, this is all about we're all men. So most of the time for men, the way you talk to men and the way you address men sets the table for the way it's going to be for that day. So I think that in the pregame, this is all determined on kind of how it's going to be, treat each other with respect, and usually you end up with a good product.
Any other coaches want to jump in on that?
That was a very nice answer from you, Coach Rapp. Very, very nice answer from you. But I am going to piggyback off of what he said. It's a respect thing. I know if you let Midnight Rider tell it, I'm a very fiery coach. I do try to push the envelope a little bit sometimes, and it's not intentional, but that's just who I am. But in a situation where pregame, if a referee is talking to you and they're explaining everything to you, and the communication is nice and well and respectful, then that's what happens in return. I know a lot of times, as Coach Rapp said, we're men, so a lot of times, if I'm asking a question to a referee and I get a response that is over the top, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to react over the top. I'm going to give back what's been given to me. Is it right? No, it's not right. But like I said, we're men, and it's a hostile environment in football. I mean, it's a brutal sport. So, it goes a long way when respect is given on both sides, and that usually helps the situations out.
If I can real quick, Scooter, because I know I should go to Mike first, but this is great stuff. Like this is why I wanted to do this. Like this is why I'm so freaking stoked about this idea. Like this is where it's important. Like coaches can say like, okay, this is what we want. And then as officials now we get to kind of say, okay, this is great. This is good to hear. This is how we want it before the game starts and all that stuff. Like you guys are great. Like this cannot be going any better. All right. I just had to say that. Like I love what I'm hearing.
That's awesome, Maddie. Oh, yeah. So we're going to throw this down to the officials now. It's basically the same question to the officials. But since we're very football heavy in coaches, we're going to start with Mike first. So tell us what you have to say.
Yeah, the respect issue is a big way. Like in pre-games, I ask the coach, how does he want to be addressed? Does he want by his first name, coach? How does he want it? I tell him, if you want to call me by my name, that'll get my attention quicker. But one of the things I learned early on is when you tell a coach, let's say a number on a foul or something, that you'll get him an answer, maybe not right now, you better come back with that answer in some point in the game and not just blow him off. When you tell him you're going to do something, you do it. Otherwise, you lose your credibility with that coach.
100% agree, Mike. Like on the hockey side, it's the same thing. Go up to the coaches beforehand. I make sure to try to shake both their coaches' hands at the bench, say the same exact thing, and you are 100% correct. Which is why, as a referee on the ice hockey side, and if there are any other officials, like I can't recommend this enough throughout my years of officiating. I really try to avoid saying before the game starts, hey, I'm going to be watching this, because the second you say I'm going to be watching this, and then you don't call whatever this is, you have lost your credibility for the rest of the game. So for my official friends out there, that's my first starting point. Try to avoid in your pre-game meetings or your pre-game conversations with coaches of saying, hey, I'm going to be watching this, because then, like I said, if you don't call this, even if there's a great reason why you didn't call whatever this is for your sport, you've lost your credibility with that coach for the rest of the game. You're probably never going to get it back for that game. So that is one thing that I can't stress enough over these pre-game conversations. Have them talk about whatever, how you want to address people, but for the officials, just be careful. Am I right, coaches? Like if a referee says, hey, I'm going to call this way, watch this play, and then they don't call it, do you guys flip your shit? Yeah, I see head shaking. Yes, right. All right, perfect. That's great. Go to give Sugar a chance here to chime in on the soccer side, because man, I see how soccer players and coaches love to whine. Like
absolutely, they're
that's
notorious.
That's been front row during the World Cup. So I'd love to hear you talk about that on the soccer
and as
side.
a former player, I understand some of it. You know, there's a lot of passion out there. There's a lot of energy being spent, and you may think the referee got something wrong, you're going to let him know. I get that. One of the things that I started doing this past year, at least at the youth games, is I tell the kids, I expect you guys to play hard, but I ask you to play clean. And I kind of, get, a little bit of soccer, watch the pulling, the pushing, grabbing, and the shoving. Jam hard for the ball. It's a contact sport. I will allow for contact. Let me decide what is and isn't a foul. You guys, once the ball is gone, disengage and keep playing. No need for stuff behind the play. And I explain that kind of stuff to them, and that has really taken hold. Because then if I see two kids, chest to chest behind the play, I'll blow the whistle. I'll give them both the yellow card. And if they don't stop, I'll give them another yellow card. They can go sit down on the sideline and, go chest to chest all day long, but they're not going to be in the game anymore. So I kind of I put it on them to play hard but clean. And that seems to do fairly well for the players. Coaches, for the most part, aren't bad, but I think what it is one bad coach yelling and screaming at me all game long. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to remember that more than the 10 coaches that were pretty chill and came up and shook my hand at the end of the game and apologized for, yelling at a call. And I'm like, I'll give you 30 seconds to vent your stuff before I, start coming over with the yellow cards. But
yeah, good stuff. Let me get through a couple of these comments real quick. Jamie says you can't coach effectively if you're trying to ref too. I love that.
Yes.
Richard says it's not okay to get out of line, but when we bring you back down, just be respectful. I can't. That's 100% well said. Let's see. Anyone else that didn't get a chance to chime in yet on this question that wants to holler out? Dwayne, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Great comments by both coaches and officials. I don't, in my experience, believe like it's a coach officials animosity or negativity thing. We have to do a much better job as officials of setting boundaries in that pregame conversation, right? Coach, here's what we expect from you and your staff and players tonight. We expect you to keep the white clean if it's football. We expect you to remain in the coach's box if it's basketball. I expect that we can, as grown men, communicate efficiently and effectively and respectfully because we're modeling for the student athletes. And you can expect us to be able to communicate clearly and concisely with you also. And so just like it's various levels of coaching experience, there's varying levels of experience too with officials. If I'm on your sideline, then and you're not cooperating with the expectations, I'll just do something preventative, give you a sideline warning early in the game, first possession, right? And that puts you on notice that now it's your job to manage your sideline so that we can have a safe environment to officiate the game. We also talk about things like we respond to questions and not statements. Your statement doesn't warrant a response, coach. Your question does. So I try to set, in our organization, we try to set a culture of that type of conversation. Now, as fate will have it, we don't work any of these guys' games that you have on the call in the regular season. We see them in the 7-on-7 season, and for the most part, it's been a positive and enjoyable experience. So yes, we're equally culpable and responsible for maintaining a culture of excellence in the competitive environment.
Love it. Very well said. I can't disagree more. Scooter, why don't you read this comment here? I'll bring it up here for you,
Yeah.
but this is a great question that just popped up here, and I love it.
All right, here's the question from NKP33. Is there an official rule, or does it just go off of honor code to disclose with respect to, especially in youth sports, being a relative to a youth in a game where you are officiating?
I'll take that from the hockey side first. So it's hopefully if an assigner has done their job and if they have disclosed that information with the assigner up front, that official is never put in a position to be a referee in a game with somebody that they know that's a family member. Now, that does not mean, of course, it does not happen, especially as we're talking about a referee shortage. There is times in a hockey game where that's going to come up. And honestly, the way that we usually tell that player is to keep it on the down low. We tell the referee that. The reason being is because I don't even want to put in a coach's mind that this person knows this person and that's going to be why this call is made. Now, some coaches may know, and if they know, that's fine. But I don't even want a coach to get an idea of any call that's been made. Because trust me, at least on the hockey side, if anything, if they know that player, they kind of know what they are sort of like to go against the rules. And sometimes just to prove that they don't have anything, they'll make a call on that player just to show, see, hey, I don't care. Like, I'm going to call him just like I'm going to call every other player. But it usually is just we just want to get in the game and get out of the game. So on the hockey side, if it does happen, we usually just try to just pretend like it's every other game and do what we do every other game. I'll let the other guys talk about what they do with their games.
I mean, yeah, I'll take it. I assign also, right, for my organization. And yes, we do ask officials to disclose those things, and we try our very best to avoid any direct relationships with family members in particular. I remember once in my college career, I got assigned a game with my former college teammate, was my center. And it just happened that way because it was a makeup game, and they wanted to use the guys that was closest to the school. I called my assigner and said, "Hey, I'm not sure I should be working this game." Got it blocked for me for 2 years is the head coach up at Fairleigh Dickinson. And my assigner gave me some really good guidance. When you go to the pregame conference with the referee, catch up with the guy after that, you don't know him, I can't afford to take you off the game. So to Mr. Palmer's question, I happen to know this person. Yes, I would not want you to, one of my staff to go and officiate their sons, their cousins, their nephews' contests. If there's a last minute emergency or something and there's no way around it, it is what it is, and you just got to have integrity. I don't think people that know me want me calling their games. I'm probably going to be a little harder on them than I will on a stranger. So it might work in reverse if I show up. So, but yes, we should be very, very cognizant of that as assigners and trying to maintain whatever level of the best and highest level of integrity we possibly can.
Aaron or Mike, anything to add on that? I don't know if either one of you guys do assigning.
For me, at least at the high school level, I have to disclose what schools my kid goes to, and I won't be scheduled to at least do any varsity games for that school. In the club scene, very rarely do you see somebody officiating a family member. I mean, it almost happened. I almost got put on a game that my son was in a rec game as an emergency, but they were able to find someone else. But yeah, you try to avoid it because I know the first duty of the officials is a safe game, And the second one is that it's a fair game. So you can't, I mean, even the appearance of a bias going in, you want to try to avoid all that.
Agree. Mike?
Yeah. Again, high school, you have to disclose. Youth, you don't have to, but most want you to, just to avoid. And like Dwayne said, if I was ever officiating a game with a family member, their team would probably be held to a higher standard than the other team, just
Right.
because I'm trying not to show bias, and it would work against them probably.
Yep, I agree. Good stuff. All right, Scooter, get the next question ready for the coaches here, because I know us officials have been babbling on a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, usually you never know what's going to go on in the game. But so let's get to the coaches. We talked a lot about how you like to talk before and after the games, or at least before the games with the officials. So a few of you guys probably have had it out with officials throughout an entire game. You're just really angry, upset at them. What calms you down at the end of the game to kind of go up to him and kind of bring it back down to earth and just talk it over real quick? Does anyone have any ways that they do that?
Who wants to go first?
I'll tell you that doesn't really happen with us. Because after the game, where the officials sprint off the field, so I don't, you know what I mean. They're not really around to talk to us. So I'm at the bow out of this one. Like.
No, he calls me, guys, and I wasn't at the game, but he calls me to vent.
There you go.
Jamie,
How
good
about
point.
you
Yeah,
officials?
him or her.
How about you officials? Does that ever happen to you guys? Where and it sounds like with Coach Rapp, he sees a lot of times where the officials just they're out of there. Do you guys ever go to the coaches and discuss what disagreement, and you discuss it, try to come up with some sort of like, okay, this is how we agree to disagree politely? Does that ever happen with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, on the hockey side, like first the players always, the players are shaking hands. It depends. Like if it's been a really tight, contentious game, I will try to avoid the coaches. Like if they come over to me and they shake hands and say good game, which is usually the norm, great. If they want to discuss the call, like it's going to depend on how that discussion starts off with. If it's calm, hey, I'll stand there with that coach and we'll have that discussion. If it starts with some type of fun language, then I'm probably just going to say, coach, let's go, see you next game and try. And the good thing is I'm on skates, they're on feet, right? So I have an ability to skate away from that said coach. And then that way, if said coach keeps hunting me down, well, now you just earned any game misconduct that you're going to get, because I've tried to skate away and disengage. You are furthering that engagement by coming back to me. So there's ways in hockey that we have. So yeah, I'm always game if the coach comes to me, but I'm probably not going to seek out a coach's handshake after that if there's been something like that that's gone on all game long.
For me, it's actually depends on the game, because high school we are instructed to, as soon as that game is over, get our crew and get out. Don't engage with anybody, just leave. Obviously, if I'm doing a double header, you can't always get away. There's nowhere to go. But for the most part, especially in high school, we're told go the other way. If I'm doing youth games and I'm doing 3-4 games in a row, there's no getting away from it. And sometimes coaches will come up and ask about a call that I made. Most of the time I'll stand behind a call. I make my calls. It's how I saw it. He may have seen it differently. He's got one view of the field. I've got another. Maybe he saw something I didn't. Maybe I saw something he didn't. If he keeps going, I found the great phrase is opinion noted. And that usually seems to end the discussion right there, because then if they continue the discussion, it's opinion noted with a receipt in the form of a yellow card. So it's, I put it on them again.
Who's my basketball coach? Is that the same way for basketball where like do the officials have to run off on basketball games, or do they sit there and talk to you guys afterwards?
For youth, I know here at Lower Wildcats, we participate in the PG County Basketball League. So they're usually there for multiple games. So I know for me, the way I coach is I don't really engage with the referees because it's not my job to make a call, but I do call out if I see a kid travel or whatever it is. But at the end, before and after the game, I usually try to build a rapport with the referees just to know that this is just a volunteer position for me. There's no need for me to get any hostile. I know it's a competitive game, but I mean, I'm not going to jail for a 45-minute basketball game.
That's very well said there, sir. I like that a lot. All right, Dwayne, real quick, because this comment was specifically just for you. It says Dwayne will run off to get out of his uniform and stick around hours later to talk to the coaches.
That's my wife, man. So, yeah. So no, like Aaron said, high school, we're out of there. We gather up the chain crew. We try to get an eye line sight of who's ever working the clock. Security or game administration usually helps get them meet us into the designated dressing area. But also at the youth circuit, we're probably posted up in the corner of the stadium for multiple games under our tent and stuff, and you will have more opportunities to have engagement with coaches after the contest. But just like you said, Maddie and Aaron and Mike, if it's respectful, we can have a conversation. If it's colorful language and I can't believe you guys this and you that, usually we're instructed to just see if game day administration can intervene and hope that you see that coach down the line some other time later in the year, and you can actually have a decent conversation about it. There's a gross misunderstanding on both sides, right? I think some officials have to learn to have thicker skin because a lot of what these guys are doing is just coaching. They're supposed to want things to go their way. Yeah,
Right.
their team holds. The opponent is holding his guys, but his guys never hold. That's coaching.
Yep.
Deal with it. The other thing you try to do pre and during is, coach, if you're going to ask me a question, can you at least give me a chance to respond before you disagree or agree with me? And they're not going to always like it. But, part of our training, which, by the way, I postponed a little bit so I could participate in this,
Thank you for that.
is you're welcome. I give little small nuggets of short line scripts, what to say to the coach. Hey, coach, I saw a little bit of a grab, but it wasn't big enough restriction, or it didn't have an impact on the play, or a senior doesn't have his mouthpiece in. Coach, I don't think you want us to stop the game for that. We just go up and say, hey, number 4, can you put your mouthpiece in? If we keep having problems with that, we got 2 ways to handle it. Impart the coach, they'll probably listen to him better, or we just send him out for a play. Why are you sending him out? Coach, I've asked him several times to cover his knees. He won't do it. So we try to do the preventative and then the interactive stuff while the game is going on. But, this is sports and competition is very high intensity. So people don't always, that's why in college they wait 45 minutes before they put a microphone in people's face, right? A cool down period. Because if you let the coach walk in the locker room that's mad about how the game ended, no telling what he's going to say post game. So I don't want to dominate that too much. But yes, high school, we're out. And generally my phone rings if somebody has a problem because I'm in a dual capacity. I'm an on-court, on-field official, and I assign.
Good stuff, guys. Love it. All right. Scooter, what's the next question we got to start with the coaches again?
Okay, for the coaches, so you see a lot of the regular refs that you would normally see, and then there's some newer refs. Sometimes the newer refs are younger, maybe they're a little older, but they're kind of like rookie or 1 year. But you've never seen them officiate a game as opposed to the others who you've seen many times. Do you deal with them on a different level, or is it all every official is the same exact? You're going to deal with them exactly the same way?
No, every in my opinion, every official is different. When I notice a person, a ref that I've never seen before, And they'll usually introduce themselves as somebody that's new to the crew or first year reffing. I'm gonna be honest, I personally try to stay off of them a lot more because I know that they just learning. And I kind of go easy on them. So I treat them differently than guys that I've seen all the time. So I expect the guys that's been there a lot to be more seasoned on how the game flow goes, more seasoned on the rules, which is that's another discussion. I try to take it easy on them, especially out in this area because I know there's such a shortage on referees. So I know there was plenty of games last season where we probably had a new referee on every crew that did one of our games. So that's my opinion on it.
I mean, I got one, honestly.
Go ahead.
So I think, honestly, it depends on what part of the season I am in. Because if I'm gearing up for postseason and you're a new ref, like that's kind of bad. It's out here, you kind of messing up, or I still have to coach you as a ref going down the line.
So Marcus, let me ask you a follow-up question on that because I hear you on that. Like the closer you get in the season, especially you're in the playoff hunt, games mean more. So how do you though handle that? Like, do you I mean, are you treating him like a 10-year vet, or are you talking to him about a play maybe still a little bit differently because you know that he is brand new? Maybe he's put in this position not because he wants to be there, but because there's nobody else to call that game.
I mean, honestly, you have to take it to the chin. I mean, of course, we could complain about it at the end of the day to like a signer or the head referee, but it's just we need referees to officiate our games. We can't do nothing without them. We all know that, but also we know it's a time and place for certain refs. Like some guys, they don't need to be at a playoff game, or they don't need to be at a high level high school game at that.
Good stuff, Marcus. Like I said,
can I ask a support question to that, Matty?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so coaches, any of y'all got first year players on your team?
Absolutely.
Any of y'all got first year coaches on your staff?
Yeah.
We're forced and required to officiate your first year players and your first year coaches. So now that means you have to endure a first or younger official. That's the only way this works. And to row, especially, we don't have anywhere else to train officials but at your 7 to 13-year group. I'm sorry.
No,
where else
listen,
we going to put them?
I get it. And like I said, I could tell, especially on the basketball side, the newer referees, because they either inconsistent or consistent with the calls. Or they go overboard where they call everything, or they don't call nothing at all. So there's really I can tell with a seasoned official, there's usually a give or take here and there, and they'll joke about it with me. But a new official, I can tell because they look nervous in the beginning, especially in the beginning of a season.
And because Marcus, your windows down or something, somebody's windows down. But at any rate, so we have a situation where we might need all hands on deck to cover your contract. So we have to put these guys out there. Now, the goal I have sitting at the front of the room is try to balance that with some seniority, right? But sooner or later, you're going to have to call a play where that kid you don't really want to be out there on the field is going to have to do something. So I have to run a route. You have to block somebody. You may have to catch the ball. Heck, I seen some of y'all down to your third string quarterbacks. I can tell you, honestly speaking, that's no fun for us.
Yeah.
So I think if we look at the lens from the other side sometimes, the ask is we don't get to go to the league and say, can you please not give me any games with first-year coaches? Can you please not give me any games where the team is so young he's got to play freshmen on his varsity squad? Right. And we're forced to work the games that you guys play. Meaning if you can play disciplined, mistake-free football, our job is easier. Basketball, if you can put the ball in the hole, you don't even know officials are out there. I don't know about hockey and the other sports that I have no experience in, but I just think if we have a little bit of empathy for the other side, then it makes, I think it makes the whole environment work a little more smoothly.
I do have a comment I want to make on that, but there is a comment in here that I think would be good. So, Steve, Jamie puts in here, Rap knows where this is going. So I want to give you a quick second did you know where this is going, and what are your thoughts on this, where it's going?
Tell Miss Jamie I want no problems, okay? I want no problems.
He knew I had a pre-scripted answer to that.
Yo, let me tell you, my boy Wayne, so y'all know, coaches, he got his gun loaded. So you better make sure you got your bulletproof vest on when you shooting shots, fellas.
And respectfully, right? You know, there's nothing that is over the top, right? But I think when you start asking yourself those questions, yeah, we got first year coaches. Coach Devon said he's a third year coach. His rookie season, somebody had to call his games.
Right. And I do want, Jamie, this is a good point here, but not only, at least on the hockey side of things, there's guys that have been doing this for 10, 15 years that still don't know the rules. So it's amazing how that happens sometimes. But I do want to say this because on the hockey side, this is the way I always do it, because there's two of us, right? And if I'm working with a young ref, I'll go to both coaches, and usually I'll let the young ref do his handshake first, and I have him go over away from where I am. And I talk to the coach and I say, look, coach, this is how this is going to go. If you got any problems or questions, come to me. If you got a comment to make about something that you see with the younger official, come to me, then let me handle it with that younger official. But you will not, at any point in time during this game, raise your voice to my young official. Are we clear? Get the head shake. All right, cool. Now we're good to go. Because now and that's a tone that I don't mind setting with the coaches, because I don't care what the coach is. I don't care if it's the head coach. I don't care if it's one of the assistant coaches. I don't care if it's a guy that's on the bench. You start younging at my young official, guess where you're going to be? Out in the parking lot for the rest of the game. Like, that's the one thing I will not tolerate when I've got a young partner in this first year. Like, you can yell at me about every call that kid is making. Yell at me all you want. I'm there for it. I'll take care of it. But you will not yell at him in that same way.
If I can jump in real quick, U.S. Soccer this past year started something where any ref under 18, their ref badge has a green background instead of a black background, so you can see it right away. And I work with a lot of these kids. I'll go to the coach like during the pregame, and I'll tell them, I'm like, look, both of my ARs are green badges. Don't talk to them, and they know what that means, because if there is an issue with the kid, at least towards the kids, the penalties double, and in some cases triple. So yeah, if you start yelling at an under 18 referee in soccer, if it gets reported, you may not coach again.
Yeah,
they are taking a real hard line. I mean, obviously that means it has to be reported, but if it does get reported, U.S. Soccer has our backs, and yeah, they will shut that down right away.
Hockey did just start something like that with the green armbands, but it's up to the rinks to have them, and most rinks, of course, guess what they don't have? The green.
This is right on our license badge that we have to wear.
I would love to see.
It's also a recruitment challenge, guys.
Yeah.
One of the biggest deterrents in recruitment is I don't want to be abused.
Mm-hmm.
Verbally.
It is.
I don't know how you guys do this. You got to be crazy to put on that shirt. And now with social media being what it is, you open up any social media outlet right now and search officials, you'll see hundreds and dozens of videos of officials getting verbally and or physically abused. That's a gross deterrent. And I've had that conversations with some people. But this is one of the challenges we have of getting newer officials, because they come out here, sit in the bleachers, and say they came to the game with an interest to officiate. They see those interactions and say, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So it becomes challenging for us to figure out creative ways to get people involved in the avocation.
I do have a question.
Pay is the lure, right? Hey, you're getting paid to do it. So
Who had the question?
That's me. So
Go ahead, Rob.
Ms. Jamie, she posed a good point on her comment. She said that first year coaches don't know the rules, but some veterans don't as well. I have a sidebar question to that. is if a lot of youth referees, they ref in different leagues, and if a coach is coming to a referee with here's our league rules, and that referee kind of like shoos you away, how do we approach the referee then if that's the case? Because there's several times that I've had an interaction with the referee. Well, this is not the rule that we're used to. I'm like, I get it, but this is our league rule stuff.
It's our jobs as assigners to make sure that they're equipped with the proper rules per the league or division that they're working.
I know.
I don't have a built-in excuse for that. I think that's unacceptable, bro. If we work the PG County Passing League, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their rules are different than
Total different than 77.
pylons.
Right. Absolutely.
Battles rules are different
OT7.
than OT sevens.
Right.
So we gotta as officials compartmentalize and realize which rules we're dealing with that day, that weekend, that night. 95% of youth football rules come from NFHS. Only thing y'all really deter on is running clock or stop clock or the mandatory play rules. But the rules of the game, they're generally the same. So I don't think sometimes coaches understand that. But to answer your question, it's incumbent upon the assigners of these leagues to make sure that the officials know which rules are being played, what leagues rules are being played that day.
Because I coach in Mid Maryland, right? And 10 and under there's a rest stripe rule. But if you don't communicate that with an official, granted, I know we're supposed to talk about it in the pregame meeting, but if they don't know and another league does it similar, but don't, there's no there's a difference, but they still have a rest stripe. Like this, it's kind of confusing because if I'm going to a referee and let them know about this particular rule, a lot of times they be like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. So, and that's just a little
Yeah.
background where if I'm coming to you as a man, like we talked about earlier, I'm coming respectful. Don't just shoot me off if I'm trying to show you something. Because in our league, we have to have our rules with us at all times. And then we show you, and then you still don't care. Then that's the issue that we normally have.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ro. I mean, if that happened in a hockey, like there's a couple different hockey leagues that have a couple, like they can add in rules. They can't take out rules from USA Hockey, but they can add rules, right? And sometimes the assigner does not get those rule changes to us. So usually, like what I'll do is say, hey, that didn't get communicated to me, and then I'll go ask the other coach, hey, is this correct? And if both coaches are in agreement, yes, that is the rule. Then I'm like, okay, I can fly with that for the rest of this game. And I agree. It puts a referee in a bad spot if that wasn't communicated to them. And I agree with you. I do not in any way, shape, or form think that a referee's answer to that being brought to their attention should be whatever. Like that's just setting the bad tone that I don't want to set in any game that I'm calling. Where I'm like, okay, yeah, dude, whatever. Like, no, thanks. All right. We are getting close to the end of the subject, but I do want to do this real quick, Scooter, before we hit that. There was one comment here, and Mike, you're a head referee for football too, right?
Yes.
So I know I talked about it on the hockey side, but being the head referee of a crew, how do you handle it with the coaches when you know you've got a young referee on your crew?
In high school, I don't necessarily say anything because some coaches will try and take advantage of that. In the youth league, I had a guy that was first year on my crew last year, and he worked with me in the youth league. And I just tell the coaches, I said, similar to you, he's new. You can talk to him, but if you have any questions about anything, come to me because I can answer them if he can. And it just becomes, but I forget who was saying the comment, the person showing him showing the ref the rules, if the ref didn't want to listen to that, I had one where if they had tape players if they were overweight in youth, and the guy picked off a pass and ran it back for a touchdown. Well, he was taped. Well, it's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because he ran, and we had no idea. And they have commissioners there, and they showed us the rule, and we enforced it. But everyone was like, "Let's just give it to him at the dead ball." No, we had to give him a 15-yard penalty on top of it.
Good stuff for sure, guys. The comments in here are great. Ryan, thanks for your comment about being a retired hockey official. Good to see another hockey zebra here. Abuse of any officials is wrong. And I will say this from the hockey side, like there's probably many years of us taking crap that we probably shouldn't have taken that is part of the problem with us too, and now you're trying to fix it. But like same thing, like I give some coaches more leeway probably than I do others, just because I built that rapport with them. This is all just where's one other comment here? Oh, this one here, real quick before we move on. Couldn't the rest do JV games? And Dwayne, I know you assign, and I used to assign too. I think in a perfect world, the answer to this question is always yes. We'd love to put our younger officials in games that don't matter quite as much, but we both know from assigning, we don't always get that choice. There may only be, maybe a guy doesn't show up that's supposed to, so you're pulling a guy from the game before, and you're stuck with what you got, right?
Yeah.
You have that too?
I generally don't disclose amount of tenure to any coach. And when you join our organization, I tell everybody 100% the goal is for you to work varsity football in your first year. So I set our standards and expectations incredibly high, because there's no such thing as a youth official. That's where they're going to get the bulk of their snaps and experience and get the reps and be able to kick the can down the road a little bit when the stakes may not be as high. But tell Coach Rowe his Saturday 12 p.m. game at the 10U is more important than Steve's game Friday night at 7 o'clock. To them, it's not. It's just as important.
That's correct.
And the youth environment is tough, guys, and audience, because you got the least experienced coaches, the least experienced players, the least experienced officials. That's a recipe for a disaster.
Yep. Agreed.
So I have to talk our veteran guys when they come on board. I ask them coming into this, hey, man, I'm going to need you to mentor and model our younger staff. And I still do a lot of that. I've had a first-year official work a state championship. Nobody asked a question about it. Twice. Because we don't walk around with stripes on our shirts to say, he got a red patch. He earned it. So I'm on the other side of those things. I'm pushing, right? You maybe get 10, 15% of the guys that can do that. But if you do that for 10 years, just think how much better collectively we would be as officials, pushing guys to be better.
All right. That's all good stuff, coaches. I really appreciate your guys' candor on this. I think it's important not only for us here on the panel, but for those watching. It's good stuff to hear, like, okay, this is as officials how we want to be talked to. It's good stuff to hear of how coaches want to be talked to. And that's the whole point of this summit, is to get those type of things so we can better work with each other to eliminate that from being a reason why officials may bow out. But now we're going to take a quick little commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about probably the one thing that maybe is keeping coaches from coming back, and also referees from coming back, the dearly loved parents. So if you're a parent out there, this next section is going to be for you, and we'll be right back. All right, Scooter, take it away with the first question.
All right, it's parents. Okay, so obviously there's some great parents out there that really care about their kids, and they really care about just them getting the experience and everything. But then there's some other parents out there, such as I just watched this video from Mississippi at a softball under 15 tournament, and both the Texas parents and the Louisiana parents were brawling after the game. And then there was one where a coach and an umpire were beating each other, which started another brawl. And even the coach was actually a police officer, and they both got arrested, as they should have. So obviously there's some parents out there that have some issues. But to the coaches, you obviously have to probably deal with some parents going, my kid's not playing enough. You got to put my kid in. My kid's better than that kid. And you probably hear it during games too. How do you deal with those type of parents who are really trying to push their kids to play more, even though maybe their kids shouldn't play more?
I'll jump in on that.
Go ahead, Steve.
Here you go. This problem is preventative maintenance, right? And I think that constant conversation and transparency helps that. So I think that a lot of times it ends up where it is because the coaches avoid the conversation, all right, for whatever reason, whether that might be a man fundraising, whether it might be a culture thing, whether whatever. But think that when you those issues, you know who your parents are that are going to give you issues. So you have to be upfront with the player about where he fits into your situation, and then have an open door policy where, hey man, I'm willing. Hey, the mom, the dad, the uncle, the whoever wants to come in, sit down and talk. Um, and have a conversation and just be transparent in the conversation. Now, I mean, those conversations are tough, right? And you got to be transparent in what you're doing. But the end all be all is still this, right? Like always start with with the first question is, do you think I want to win? And if the parent responds yes, then I'm going to say, okay, then we're on the same page and I'm playing the best guys that give me the best opportunity to do that. Secondly, if you say no, you think I don't want to win, then there's no point in even having the conversation, right? Because ultimately, hey, you're not on the same page I am. So essentially, you got to set the table for what that is. I think that the tough conversations prevent some of the stuff down the road. Now, we also got to be honest with the atmosphere that we live in and the culture that we live in, right? Because the same people that tell you that you suck on Friday night are the same ones that turn on Saturday and say the Ohio State coaches suck, and they're the same ones that turn it on Sunday and say that the Commanders coaches suck. So in the end, there's a pattern with this. And once again, as we all know, we sign up for this, right, wrong, and different, right? And I mean, this is that kind of comes with the job, if that makes. But transparency to me is the best way to handle that.
I agree. In the youth level, parents they more than welcome to come to practice. You can see the type of skill set that we have at different levels, and if your son or daughter, because they're women, young women allowed to play with us as well, if they aren't up to the skill set of the person that's in front of them, I know for my team, we always give them opportunity to get more training after season with the trainer. We provide a list of trainers that we know and trust that can get that kid better. Because we only get 2 hours a day, especially when school only gets 6 hours a week. We can't turn sugar into shit usually. So
That's going up on a bulletin board somewhere. That's great. I love it. I love it. Who else on the coach side's got a comment? Let's see. Coach Devon, you there? Unmute yourself, Coach. Coach Devon, because I'd love to get your side, because I know you're head football coach, of how you handle the parents on this side.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a different situation from the school that we're at Law. Out of 70, 80 kids in the program, we may only see 5 parents all year long. Like, I don't have to deal with them, as much as, say, Rap does, who has, more kids in his program, and probably kids that are their parents think they're on a higher and better level. So he has to deal with more than what I would have to deal with. Um, like I said, most of the parents I see is that senior night when everybody wants to walk with little Johnny, or they come on Friday nights to the games, but they never even introduce themselves to me as the coach. So I don't have that much. I don't deal with a lot of parents. I prefer it to be like that. Um, so I don't have it as bad as other schools. So
Good stuff. I love it. Any other coach on this that wants to tackle this one? That hasn't had a chance yet? Going once, going twice. All right, Scooter, go to the next question then.
Okay, I'm going to switch to the officials. Obviously, you don't have any like parents coming up to you about you got to play my kid. But How do you deal, or do you deal with, or you just block it out, of the parents out there who are yelling and screaming? If they are, maybe they're not, but when they do get loud, how do you guys deal with that kind of stuff?
Kick them out.
Go for it, Sugar. Go for it.
Parents are the worst. And it's not all, again, it's not all parents, but the ones that are loud are the ones you remember. And there was a comment before that some new coaches or even veteran coaches don't necessarily know the rules. A lot of parents don't know the rules. A lot of parents think they know the rules, but they don't know the rules. I mean, if you go to any youth soccer game around the country, you will hear on the sideline, "Oh, come on, ref, that's a handball," at least 20 times a game, when no, it isn't a handball. And even parents that may have played the game 20, 30 years ago, the rules and how we interpret the rules have changed, and they change pretty much yearly when it comes to soccer. So we get a lot of parents going, "I played this game for years and that was," I'm like, "That's nice. It's not a handball now." This is what I'm paid to keep up with this stuff and to read all of the updates. And it's like, I'd be more than happy to show you after the game. One of the comments that I like to say to parents that complain is that all complaints should be submitted in writing on the back of an application to be a ref next season.
Nice.
That usually shuts most of them up. And for the other ones, I have yet to come see them out on the field the next season. So, we have, as you said, we have a shortage of refs. You too can, it's fairly easy. Couple hours online, couple hours out on the field, and you can give up your Saturdays and Sundays to get yelled at by other parents.
Good stuff. Mike, how about you go next?
Yeah,
as a head referee.
Well, luckily, being in the middle of the field, I can tune it out a little better. But you still hear it. But I used to do baseball too, and some fan one time said, "I'm going to heckle you all day." And my comment was, "It's just got to be new material. If it's anything I've heard before, I got to throw you out." And he just started laughing about it. But it just goes, like they said, not knowing the rules. When high school first put in the blindside block rule, we were doing week 1 game, and this is one where the home and visitors fans sit on the same side, and a punt return, we had it, and both coaches saw it and knew it right away. And you would have thought every fan base that we had shot their mother in the stands because they were so against the call that was just a good block. Well, the year before it was. This year it wasn't. And knowing the rules, they watch college football on Saturdays, pro football on Sundays, and think we're going to call the game the same way. And it's just not, the rules don't necessarily translate. And they just don't know that. Like one coach, a fan was yelling at me one time. The coach is like, "Ask him if he knows what cover the rule book is this year."
I love it. Dwayne, you want to shout out this one?
I can answer that question. I'm in the book, but I digress. But yeah, man, it is problematic. However, again, I try to instill in our staff, some tactics and techniques. One, most of it you just gotta ignore. It comes with the territory, right? You also have to be willing to impart the services of game day administration. I learned from a veteran basketball official. A guy was giving us a hard time one day, and we put him out the game, stopped the game to do it. And he said, "You know what? You just made a martyr out of that guy." So if I got a problem, guy, I'll go to game day administration and say, "Hey, that guy over there with the blue and white hat, can you go have a conversation with him? Because he's being belligerent to our staff. And if he continues, the next time I ask you, I'm going to ask you to nicely escort him out." And then you just got to go to the league and ask for support. I know we've recently moved to Northern Virginia, across right outside of DC in PG County, because culturally it's night and day. They actually have a very fond respect for us. I mean, they thank us after the games. They clap for us going back to our chairs.
Mm.
Our guys they have coolers and tents and chairs for us when we show up. So they are proactively showing that they have a fine admiration for what we do. Without us, their kids couldn't participate in these sports. However, again, we talked about it earlier, right? Least experienced players, least experienced coaches, least knowledgeable fan base is going to remain challenging. I just think as leagues, as conferences, as school districts, we got to, enforce the sportsmanship creed a little more seriously. And unfortunately, you got to make some examples out of people and just ban them.
Dwayne, while you're talking, there's this guy called Ben Conti, aka Midnight Rider, who's got a very important question, I think, to ask here. Marcus, do you have a good story about Coach Powell always being on the numbers?
No, I do not, because I don't coach. I don't officiate Coach Powell's games. However, if Coach Powell were to come to the numbers on a game that I'm officiating, that is his request for a timeout.
Mookie puts in here, Powell is usually past the number. So, Coach Powell, I will give yourself a chance to defend your honor here. Is any of these statements being made true? Coach Powell?
So let me answer for Coach Powell right quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm his get back coach, right? So I'm trying to tell him get back all the time, and he's just back away from me, Marcus.
To no avail, right?
Hey, Mook, I think you just got fired. Mook, hey, Mook, I think you got fired today, Mook, just from that comment. He fires us and hires us back.
There's one comment here, and I think this is important. I think, Scooter, if I remember, did I give you a question about like how coaches deal with maybe if they hear a referee that's getting out of line with officials? Did I have that in your questions? I can't even remember what I can.
Yeah, I don't recall that.
Okay, so I want to lead this into this and this because this is what I look on hockey. We've got a little bit of a like. There's the way these arenas are built. There's so much white noise between the boards and the glass. Like most of what I hear just sounds like the teacher from Charlie Brown. So that's good. The only bad time for parents is like I had this one parent and the kid blew an offsides call. It wasn't offsides. He called it, but you look as an official, once you make that call, it's done. Like the whistle's blown. You can't take it back. And he knew he missed it. Like the second that it happened, like you could tell he's like, damn it, I screwed that one up. And this parent, with it being completely quiet, just yelled and screamed. That parent then found his way to the outside because like he knows he made the mistake. And at the end of the day, it's an offsides on a play that wasn't going to result in anything. So it's like, dude, like save that for something way better. But I think this is a good point, and it's going to lead to a question I have for the coaches. From experience, head coaches tend to set the tone for players and parents. Not all circumstances, but most of the time, it's culture built. If a coach is yelling and screaming, parents will too. And I have seen that on the hockey side. So let me take that to my coaches real quick because I think this is a good question to ask. You hear a parent going crazy and you know that they're getting out of line. How do you deal with it at all? Or do you try to let the parents parent the parent, or do you maybe try to pull that parent aside after the game and say, hey, I'm not going to have that going on during my games? Or are you cool with it? Like, and there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just kind of curious from the coach side of how you guys think.
I mean,
I'll speak on the oh my.
I would say from a high school perspective, man, like we're down in the field. You really don't hear that. Like
too busy, right?
You're coaching, you got a headset on, you're moving, you're trying to win the game, whatever. You really don't hear that. And then, of course, right? Like my wife's in the stands, so she hears everything that's up there, right? Like and just like everybody else's wife or mom or brother or cousin, whoever it is that's there to support you, they get it. But I mean, in the end, like I told you, they look at it just it's no different. Go to the Redskin game or the Commanders game. I'm sorry. Go to the University of Maryland game. You're going to hear the same exact things. Only thing that changes is the name.
That's true.
Yep.
Piggyback on that on the U side, we hear everything. But the thing about the league that we're in, they changed the rule last year where if the head coach, if there's a player, a parent or participant or cousin or aunt or uncle, whoever's in the stands, if they're cheering for your kid and they're belligerent and everything else, that kid gets suspended as well as the parent
Wow, that's
for one game.
I love that
So
rule.
as what, and it's up to us coaches to control our sidelines. If we don't control it, the head coach is suspended as well. The parent and the child is suspended. So it's the onus is on the parents at the end of the day.
Coach Marcus, you got anything on to add on that one?
Yeah, I think Coach Rapp stole. I was gonna say because in high school it's tuned out. Like we can't really hear that necessarily. And I mean, if we do, I think we all have connections with our parents or in a parent meeting, like, hey guys, that's not our culture. That's not what we do here. Worst case, we tell our ADs or admin or security, you got to get better job of handling that situation.
I like that. And just seeing in your background, Marcus, because I did not realize that you were a fan. So just real quick, OH.
I-O.
All right, there we go. All right, we got that out of the way. I just saw your background. I had to do it. All right, Scooter, what's the next question on the parent subject?
So I was interested about the kids that are playing, because I mean you could have a 6'5", 275-pound left tackle or whatnot, and the kid's 17. So these are children. Do they hear the noise? And does that affect them at all? I mean, this can go from football to basketball. You're closer. Baseball, definitely you can hear the noise if you're a kid. Does, like, in your experiences, have you had your student athletes come up to you and go, this is stressing me out or something in that type?
I've definitely had a couple of those kids personally say that they could hear their mom or dad screaming or yelling their name or doing whatever.
I think you need to tell Coach Jackson he need to figure out how to sell more tickets.
Hey, look, they only come in Wises in town, so I don't know.
I can tell you from youth soccer, the parents are right on the sideline. I mean, 3-4 feet off the sideline, and players, coaches, and officials hear what they say. Thankfully, the club that I do most of my work for, their coaches will shut it down if they hear their parents getting out of line. I've heard them yell across, "Hey, we don't do that here." The visiting team, however, doesn't always get that memo. And there have been times where it's 80 minutes of parents just yelling and screaming and they want to scream at me. Fine. They can scream at me. I kind of I get a sadistic pleasure out of making them angry because they don't know the rules. When they start yelling at the kids, that's where we take issue. We had to throw a mom and dad out of a high school game because they were yelling at the other team that, there was a girls' game. It's like, you girls, you're not good enough. You don't deserve to be on this field. Mind you, their team was losing. The parents' team was losing like 3-1, but apparently the other team didn't deserve to be on the field. So we're like, you're out of here. I don't want to hear it. I know the kids don't want to hear it. Go to your car.
This just kind of popped in my head, and I didn't think about this when I was kind of coming up with some of these questions to ask you guys, but it just did. And so we're talking about this little subject here. Coaches, how about this side of it? You hear that somebody has said a racial slur, or maybe something else that, or a gender slur. How do you guys handle that if that gets brought to your attention? Because I'm not sure how that gets handled on the coach's side, but I think that's something that maybe that would be of interest to the audience here. So somebody brings to your attention a racial slur, because it's a very political atmosphere that we're in right now, and I think sometimes that might get its way out into the fields of play. So how do you guys deal with that when that comes up? Who wants to go first? Someone take it.
You talking about from the player or from the parent?
Either one. Whichever way you get it from. I'm kind of curious to see how you guys deal with that on either side of it.
I'm gonna say, hey man, I haven't came across that myself, so I'm not really sure how we would deal with that. I mean, I think like anything else, and this will require a meeting. I would probably take it to the athletic director and seek counsel at that point, and just kind of play it from there. Would be my guess.
Okay, Ro, if you had to deal with anything like that, where a racial slur or something
I
got
haven't
stuck with you?
particularly, but a couple years ago there was an incident in Damascus, in Albany. It was probably like 7, 8 years ago, where there was an incident where there was a lot of racial slurs being thrown at some of the players on the Albany team, caused a big brawl between Damascus and Albany, and end of the day, Damascus got kicked out the league of their rank.
Okay, interesting. Coach Devon, anything that you've had to deal with on that side of it at all? You're on mute, Coach. If you can, there you go.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting back in. What was the question?
Like if a racial slur has been brought to your attention, or a gender slur or something like that, either from a parent that said it or a player, have you had to deal with any of that? And if so, how?
No, I actually haven't had to deal with it. I've never had experience with that. It was brought to my attention. I don't know if anything's been said to a player on the field wise, but nothing has been brought to my attention.
Okay, Coach Marcus.
You know, racial issues.
Anything on your side, Coach Marcus?
Hit it right on the head. You know, if it's coming from a parent, it's an AD to handle it. Like they used to be banned from that facility. It's point blank period. Like I said, we in PG County, so it's majority African American, and we play within ourselves. So I haven't had to deal with that, so I can't really speak on that or have experience with it.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, Scooter, what's our next one?
Well, I think Mike wanted to comment about this subject.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, we had a game one time where a player was ejected, and the coach told him the other team was throwing racial slurs at him, but it was done where we didn't hear. Well, in the second half, one of the player, he was on his sidelines in his shirt and pants. A player called it to him, and that player did it right in front of an official. He was ejected with a flagrant unsportsmanlike right away. It didn't take two. He was gone flagrantly, and the school wanted to punish him harsher, but of course the Board of Education didn't.
Ugh. Yeah, it's similar in hockey. We have to hear it to be able to disqualify them from the game. If we don't hear it, then we go to both coaches and say, hey, this was brought to our attention that a player said this. I did not hear it. Therefore, I can't penalize what I didn't hear. We still have to do a game report on it, which, but then it's up to the league to then handle it, how they're going to handle it. But yeah, it's kind of similar. We have to hear it to be able to disqualify that player. If it's a fan, goodbye. I got no problem throwing out a fan. Get the rink official, say that person needs to go if they don't go on their own. But there's nothing better as a hockey official being on the ice, giving the point to go to the door and watching them make that walk of shame. I really, 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 truly do enjoy doing that, and I don't do it often, but when it does happen. As Midnight Rider, if he knows, I may or may not talk about that sometimes on my show of being able to do that.
I haven't had to do it much, but yeah, I've had to do that myself a few times.
Yeah,
I have zero problem. If it was up to me, we put all the parents back in their cars, let the kids play in silence. Be a much better game.
That's funny you say that, Aaron, because there was one game I remember. I don't know why there was hardly. Oh, I think maybe it was during COVID. So like during COVID, the parents weren't allowed in. Though that was the best year of my life officiating, where there were no parents in the stands. I do have to admit that was an enjoyable year for sure. All right, we got a little bit more time, Scooter. What's another parent question here that we got?
Okay, for the coaches, do your athletic associations, the league officials, do they protect you and your players well from these kind of things from the parents? Do they have certain rule? Obviously, there's going to be rules about it, but do they enforce these rules when the parents get out of line, or do they kind of give it like a little, okay, you get one more? Does that go? Do they protect you guys at all?
And I know in youth there isn't really an association, but I know my organization, we do make the parents sign a code of conduct. And if they do anything that is against the code of conduct, they're given a warning. Second, they're suspended. Third, they just removed for the rest of the year.
I like that.
How about the officials?
Well, for us, it's pretty much, it's we're supposed to go through the coaches if we want to throw the parents out for any reason. We're supposed to ask the coach, warn your sideline. Then we ask them to leave, and then if they don't leave, we threaten to abandon the game. If I'm working for the club, like at the club facility where I'm mostly assigned out of, they have people around the field that will shut it down real quickly if the parents are getting out of hand. But sometimes the games are played out at the county park, and we don't have that luxury of having the club officials other than the coach on hand to police that. So we kind of have to either ask the coach, and we've had some coaches like, well, what do you want me to do about it? I'm like, tell your parents to stop. And it's like, and if I don't, well, then I'll give you a yellow card for not stopping them. I've got a whistle, a yellow card, and a red card. That's all they've given me to control all the kids on the field and the fans in the stands.
Yeah, it's nice in hockey. I don't have to go through the coaches. Sometimes I might give them, like if they say, "Hey, why are you throwing that guy out?" Like I'll tell them and mostly there's two things I won't tolerate. Like if they're yelling at me, I really don't care that much. Again, if they're yelling at a younger official, no room for that. If they are yelling at the other team's kids, I will not tolerate that.
Yeah, that's what, like I said, in the high school game I had to.
These guys are 10 years old. Like I don't need you. You don't need to be taunting the other team's 10-year-old goalie. Sorry, no. Like not that. That's not that. This is not the place for that. It's like, and like, look, it happens in hockey where it's that big hit where it's what I call the oh shit hit, where this player just gets blown up and and most of them, my arm is up immediately. But it's like it's so hard to keep that situation under control because it's somebody's kid and they're getting ready to flip out because their kid is sprawled out on the ice and he had a yard sale with all of his equipment. So like it's hard to keep those situations. So the only thing I can do is it's up to me to keep my voice calm and to calm down the entire room. And then when that player is getting the ejection, like if that other end is the hot end, what I call where all those parents are, then let's take him out let's find another door to get this kid off the ice where he does not have to go through those parents after maybe delivering a bad hit. Dwayne, how about you on your side, especially dealing on the basketball side? I'm kind of curious to know.
Yeah, same things same tactics, man. Those are winning strategies, right? When you have the most unpleasant points of things that we have to do as officials are disqualify players and or parents. But federation, we just editorially changed that kids can remain in the team box in football when they get ejected because they're minors. They usually need an adult to accompany them somewhere. A lot of times we may not. I mean, people aren't as fortunate as Mr. Rapp. We got 15 assistant coaches. Some of our schools may have 3 or 4 people in there, and then one of them might be the trainer too. So we ran into some situations in some of our smaller states and areas where they didn't have enough coaches. One coach had to leave with a kid that went for a traumatic injury, and the kid got ejected and they had to forfeit the game. But you try to work with game day administration with stuff like that. I usually operate with, we don't usually DQ people, they DQ themselves. But we have zero tolerance in all of the jurisdictions that we work in for, racial epithets and things of that nature. But I think, the coaches did a good job of talking about how their organizational culture is where that gets mitigated. And then hopefully we don't have to experience it because their standard exceeds the minimum standard. To get rid of those, I remember watching a video on Izzo, and he said, we don't recruit the kid, we recruit the family. So there's a lot of times I think coaches need to take that approach. How are the people that's coming to support these student athletes conducting themselves? And is it good nature for you? Even if those players are really good, do you want to take those hits from organizations? Some really good officials that can't work for me. because they're just jerks and not nice people. So if we all kind of do that and operate with that same premise, I think we're all now positively contributing to our environments being safer and a little bit more empathetic and sympathetic in terms of caring about our fellow beings. So I don't see it as much as I used to see it, but like everyone said earlier, I think Sugar said it earlier. It's the one bad. The polarizing things are the ones you remember the most, right? The really really good stuff or the really really bad stuff, and the really really bad stuff taints it for everybody.
Yep, I agree. I think it's important for coaches and parents to know, like, for most of us officials, our best game is the game where we get on the ice or off and on the field, and we get off the field without a peep being said. Like, that's my ultimate goal in every game, is to try to get on the field, call the game, say goodbye. Like, that it's so it's that's what most officials want. Now look, I am not here to defend every official. I think the officials that we got on this panel are those type of officials. Are there officials out there that try to egg on coaches or parents to do stupid shit? Of course there are, and that's not good for us either. Like, it is a two-way street on that side, and I don't want any coach to think that us good officials aren't aware that there are bad officials that are out there likely just to collect a paycheck, right? Because for the most part, we're the only ones getting paid. Do you guys, high school coaches, do you guys get paid extra for coaching, or is that still is it volunteer for you guys? Any pay? I don't know if you guys do or not on the high school level.
You get a stipend shot.
There's in PG County there's a stipend.
Okay, but probably still not you're not getting paid. Like, I'm sure it's still not enough to retire on, right?
We're not in
So, like,
Texas.
right, exactly. So it's like, and I think most officials, we realize that, and especially on the youth side, we're likely the only ones out on that field or ice getting paid. And so I always try to remember that when I'm calling the game, that I want to give them that good product over and over again. And I wish every official did it that way. So I'm definitely aware that there are officials that don't do things the right way too. But I think it's important for the coaches, when they see the parent, a referee doing the right thing, to try to have the referees back with the parents. I think that can go a long way. And I get it for the football side. I never thought about the fact you guys are on the sidelines with the headset the whole entire time. It's probably difficult for you guys to know when those situations occur. I never really realized that it's probably harder where on the soccer side they can hear it. On the baseball side, you can hear those parents way easier than probably what you can at those football levels.
I think some of this interesting. I believe more officials have coaching experience than coaches have officiating experience.
True.
Right. I coached for 12 years, concurrent with the start of my officiating career. So when I'm in the rooms, I'm saying, "Hey guys, I really thank y'all for what you're doing. It's very important. The job that you have taken on. I know because I've sat in your shoes. Not very many coaches can say they stand in our shoes, Maddie, and Sugar and Mike. So that gives a little bit more. I think I don't know if credibility is the right word for I'll say that for lack of a better term, but I've experienced what it is to be a coach. So I'm a little more understanding of. I don't try to mix badger with passion, right? I got Lord knows when I played and coached, I gave officials not the best experience. So I think I'm just getting some of that back on the back end as an official, right? So
That's your karma, coach. That's your karma.
that's my karma, man.
Same here.
And
I may have jerked at my share of refs in my day.
Yeah, and I take it with a grain of salt. Now, it's the hands down piece. Okay, coach, you made your point.
Yep.
All right, so you got to give them their 30 seconds of fame to vent or say whatever they're going to say, and coach got to get back to the game.
Agree. Mike, read the talk about the comment that you put in our private chat, because I think this is an important piece for coaches and parents to know about how most officials go about a game. And this point is 100% correct for me, at least, and I'm sure I'm probably not. I can tell just from this conversation of an hour and 40 minutes with Dwayne that he probably, and I know Aaron too feels this way too. So read off what you put in this in the private chat about officials and calls.
I'm sure more officials like me remember the calls they've missed or gotten wrong more than the calls they've gotten right. I still have a play from 13 years ago that we called a pass backwards, and the team returned it for a touchdown and ended up winning 12-8. And the local TV station was there and had a camera right on the spot, and the pass was forward. Now, granted, we didn't throw 5 interceptions and fumble the ball 3 times after it. But
Yeah.
To this day, I remember that call like it was yesterday, because I couldn't tell you the good calls I've made. But it's that. And one other thing that officials, if they don't do, need to do, like so many times we're told that we throw flags and stuff like that. But if a player does something good, like he's rushing in on the quarterback, but the quarterback got the pass away and the kid laid off, I'll just tell them, good job laying off. Praise them when they do something right instead of just flagging them when they're wrong.
100% agree with that. Coach Devon, I want you to read off what you just put in the private chat, because I think this is also an equally important point for officials. You're still on mute, Coach. There you go.
Yep. So the comment I made was there are some good refs that will come up to me during the game and say, "Hey, coach, I made a mistake on that call. You know, this is what I saw. You know, real time, but thinking about it, hey, I made a mistake. My bad." And I may not have liked what the outcome was, but I respect that a lot. That he's big enough to come to me and say, "Hey, coach, I missed one." We're human out here, just like you are. I call bad plays sometimes. And for him to come to me and say, "Hey, I missed the call," I appreciate that, and I usually lay off of him after that.
Coach, I agree with you 100%. That's a great point to make, and I think it's an important point for officials in general to make. But it's funny because you say that, because when I do my referee seminars, what I always tell people is you can do that usually one time with the coach. But you better not be making the same mistake over time and keep going and going. My bad, like, coach, yep, I screwed that one up too. Like, I think you probably got 1, maybe 2 times if you got a coach in a good mood that day to get away with that. But you better not be going up to that coach 3 or 4 times saying, "My bad, I really screwed that one up."
Yeah, I might be giving away my trade secrets here, but hey, coach, if it happened the way you said it happened, then we might have gotten that one wrong.
Yep. Yeah, and that's
I know. I got a story.
That's not an admission. That's not an admission.
That's not an admission of guilt. I got a story. This past basketball season, I coached girls basketball at College Park Academy, middle school, and the mayor of Laurel is actually a referee of one of my games versus MIT. So I told him, I said, he called a travel blatant. It was bad call, in my opinion. But I told him, I said, "Man, you lost my vote, man. Like, you can't be calling this on my team." And then he called travel on the other team. I said, "You got it back. You got it back."
but Coach Rowe, that's perfect, man. Like, we gotta
I think that's acceptable referee abuse right there.
Yeah, right.
Oh my
that's
God,
perfect. That's perfect. We gotta learn to see some in middle school girls basketball. How could you not be having the time of your life?
Man, I coach middle school girls and boys, and the girls I have a lot more fun with because they don't give me as much. They give me attitude because they can't be on their phones doing TikToks. But during the game, I don't get as much attitude as I do with the young men. So I like the girls a lot. Coaching the girls a lot better than the young men.
Same with reffing.
Yeah, it's
Girls
important.
are a lot more polite.
Yeah, I same thing on the hockey side. It's funny because this is kind of a subject that we've gone off tangent on, but it's a good subject to go off tangent on. It's funny, like, my way of making sure that the kids are having fun out there, especially if I got like 10, 12-year-olds. Because if you guys have ever been out to hockey rinks, if you got a good person, they'll be playing music in between, and it's usually they're playing because they're our age. They're usually playing something from the 80s or 90s that I know the 2 centers have never heard in their life before, and I'll be like, dude, I'll give you $5 after the game if you can name this band for me. And every time they're looking at me like, huh? What are you talking about? And I'll start singing the song before I drop the puck and say, come on, join in. And they're like, just looking at me like, dude, you're crazy.
Yeah,
I do something
sing
similar
along
when
in
I'm
the
doing my
pregame,
pregame
too.
with the younger kids, making sure they don't have any jewelry on, no chains, bracelets, earrings, lip rings, nose rings, wedding bands. No?
Right. There you go.
Asking a 13-year-old if they're married, but just try to get them in a good mood before they start hating me during the game.
Exactly. Dwayne, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I'm 54. I know some of the songs and stuff they're playing on the loudspeaker in the pregame. So I might come by, know a lyric or two. I'm like, oh, look at the rap. What you know about that? Man, I got kids that's been their age before, man. I think they don't believe we're human beings sometimes. So we got to do a better job of humanizing ourselves and letting them know, look, I work a regular job like your mom and dad. I got kids to raise like your parents are trying to raise you. And if I slice my finger, red blood's going to come out it just like yours. You try to help them understand, like, this is just something I enjoy doing, but I'm still got a real person with a real life. And they don't always understand that.
All right, before we get into our final topic here, because I know we're hitting on time, Midnight Rider puts in here, and I think we probably all will probably agree with this. When you coach girls, do you find it easier for them to listen and do exactly what you ask? Coaches, for the ones that do the ladies' side of it?
The ladies' side of it. I do, yes and no, because it's a different attitude that you have to approach with the young women that you do the young men, in my opinion. I can yell at a young man and he get it right. Well, he'll do exactly what I want. But a young lady a little more sensitive. In my case, the girls that I coach, so you have to figure out how to adapt to each player, not just your philosophy.
And somebody once put it that in general, now I don't want to, not everybody, but in general, boys think they're about 2 levels better than they actually are, whereas girls will think they're about a level below where they actually are. And yet, both for coaching and officiating, got to keep that in mind. The boys are out there thinking they should be on varsity, they should be on the premier team, they should be, the best, whereas the girls are like, yeah, I suck. When neither one of them is correct.
Good stuff. Yeah, I like that too. I'm from the hockey side, especially the U16 level, where the 16-year-old boys, the testosterone is really flying. With the girls, normally you tell them to knock it off, they stop. With the boys, that stuff always gets stupid after the whistle. I just don't know why. All right, this is all great stuff, guys. We got one final subject, and it's an important one because we've talked about how the lack of officials in a lot of these areas, and there are ways, coaches, that you guys can help us to get more officials involved. But before we do that, let's take one quick break, just to kind of give everyone a second to get a drink or something like that. By a real quick break, I mean 16 seconds quick break. So we'll be right back after this. All right, Scooter, go ahead with our starting points or starting questions for the third section of this, of how to recruit and get young refs to stay in the game.
And coaches. So for the coaches here, I'd like to know, how do you get how do you recruit more coaches? Like, do you have a plan? Is there a place that you can train them up, or what do you talk to former players? How do you get kids or young adults interested in coaching?
On the youth level, I know we get a lot of, sorry for the feedback, we get a lot of the old players that want to come back, or fathers that want to coach. But what we do discuss with the fathers is you can't just coach your son. You can't be a father that out here just focusing on your son. Your son is built like a runner, is built like a lineman, but you want him to play running back and give him number 1. It don't work that way.
Good stuff. Any other coaches on it?
I think it's like so, all right. So you run ads, right? Like on those football websites, like the Football Scoop, SSA, the Maryland State Athletic site, looking for coaches, whatever. But like we've been fortunate enough to be pretty good over the last couple of years. So don't get coaches. I think
Yep.
it makes sense.
Steve, you're kind of breaking up a little bit. Hard to hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get close. You can hear me better now.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, cool. I said, for us, we've been pretty good over the last couple of years. So getting coaches that's not really, we don't really hurt for that. We get people that want to coach every year. For us, it's more about how long you've done it and how good you are at it. Over here in our land, nobody wants to coach JV football in our deal. So everybody immediately wants to go and just jump on the varsity. Like I call it the coaching microwave. And it's like that's not the way I came through it. I was a little league coach, then I was a JV coach, then I was the JV coordinator, then the JV head coach, then the pass game coordinator, then the O coordinator, and then the head coach. So I went through the whole realm of the thing, and people just don't feel like they have to do that. So I think that we're always looking for a good, experienced coach or a guy that played it at a high level. But outside of that, it's I want guys that are in it for the grind.
I like that. Any other coaches on that one?
I mean, I can speak for like what me and Coach Savon do. If we see a kid who's 21 years old, he's around the program a lot, and we have a spot that's open, we tell him straight up, you guys talk to the JV program first. And then if he loves you as the varsity head coach, he'll make space for you somehow, somewhere.
That's good stuff. And if I could throw this in on the official side, like the best young officials are usually the ones that play, and they're involved. And I think it's important for the coaches, if you guys know that you're, to ask your players to get involved. It'll actually help you guys out, I think, in two fronts. And Dwayne, follow up behind me and tell me if you think that this is correct or not. Like when there are teams that have players that also officiate, one, it gives the players on your own team somebody else to kind of go to, and maybe if that person's being, yeah, that's a good call, like that's the rule, that's the right call. That's one part of it. But then two, I think it also helps you build rapport with officials when you've got kids that are doing that as well. Dwayne, do you agree with that?
100%. I think an untapped resource that recently we started strategizing is going to some of these local college programs and high school programs. Only 1% of these kids are going to play professionally. So the lights shut off on 99% of their dreams. There's a finite period where you can play these sports competitively outside of getting into the neighborhood adult league. Those kids come back home and they show interest, send them to us. We can keep them around the game. That's one of our marketing pitches, stay around the game in a different way.
I like that. For you coaches, good question from Jamie. Do coaches have to go through a yearly training and clinics to stay certified?
Yes, for us. Like I do it for my program. So every coach has to attend at least 2 clinics. If you don't, that's a $50 fine. Once you go to the clinic, you got to come back and present to the staff something that's going to make us better. And it doesn't always have to be schematically. It could be fundraising, it could be culture building, it could be leadership, it could be weight room. It's just you got to bring something through the clinic realm for that year to make us better.
That's great stuff. Good stuff. All right, Scooter, what's the next one?
So, coaches, have you ever seen when you get these officials out there? Have you ever had former players or people that outside of football be an official in your games?
Absolutely.
Yep, I have. Sure.
Yeah, me as well. I know as a kid I treated like my nephew. His grandmother been refereeing basketball for years. Miss Sharon been refereeing for a while. And his uncle's dad, which is Mr. Charlie, he been around for a while as well. I see them all through my basketball seasons.
Good stuff. How do you guys handle that as a coach? Do you maybe give a former player a little bit more leeway on calls than what you would someone you don't know? No, I like that. See,
Every ref the same.
and that's how it should be, right? I
Yeah,
think
they
that's
get put to
fair,
the
right?
side just like everybody else.
Yeah, you out there getting
But
paid
then
to do a job.
afterwards,
Getting paid to do a job.
I may joke with you, be like, man, you made a bad call. What do you think about this call? Everybody's treated the same while the clock is going.
Gotcha. All right, I like that. Steve, any experience with that on your guys' end with having guys that then turn around and play, or that referee, and do you treat them any differently at all? Or
Guys that I know outside of football that'll end up reffing our games. And it's just like anything else. That's at that point they got a job, they get paid, they're there to do something. So it's no different than whether I knew you, before or didn't know you. Same thing for me.
good stuff. All right, Scooter, let's do one more on this subject before we'll start trying to wrap it up a little bit for everyone.
Well, do you have any other questions?
Was that Scooter?
I'm sorry. Do you have any other questions for the gentleman?
Do I? Boy, do I. So well, no, not really a question. More, I'll give everyone. Let's do this. Let's give everyone a little round table. Like, how about this? Do you think that this is helpful in building better rapport between officials? And this will go for everybody, between officials and coaches. Do you find this helpful? Would it be something worth doing maybe again next year with maybe, with either help bringing the same panel back or different panels? So, Aaron, I'll start with you just because you're the first one that I see up here. Yay, nay on this?
I think this is very helpful. Getting to talk to more coaches. Obviously, I try to build a rapport with the coaches that I see more than once, but doesn't always go that well. But yeah, something like this is really helpful.
Good. Mike, you're next that I see here on my little screen here. Yay, nay? This whole thing.
Definitely, just to hear the thought process of everyone, what they do, how the coaches look at it, how the other officials. Like I'm going to take away Aaron's play hard but keep it clean.
I like that. All right, let's see. Coach Rowe, you just went off, so let's do.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right, Coach Rowe.
I think it's a great idea to keep this going. I think even with the same panel, I think it's a good opportunity for us coaches to hear what the referees have to say and vice versa.
Cool, love it. Coach Marcus, you're next up on my little screen here.
Oh man, absolutely. I think Dwayne said it best. Realizing the referees are still human as well.
Good stuff. And then Steve, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think that coaches should be required to meet with the referees like you go to clinics. Because I think that some of the time, I'm gonna say a lot of the time, is the coach's frustration with the officials in any sport. It sometimes can be avoided based on especially in football, talking to the right official. Like if you're talking to the official on your sideline about a holding that happened on the far sideline, your official, that's not even his POV. So it's kind of like now you miss it, or something happens in the middle, you should be talking to the umpire and not the wing. And I think that a lot of the times, man, that's what causes the problems. So it's kind of like I think the coaches need to do a better job of educating themselves on who's making the call, where the call is coming from, right? And then that's where the accountability piece comes in. So I'm not really quite sure, whether this panel is right for that. But I think that's something that should go out to the coaches amongst when you got to do, your training or whatever, you should have to listen to the head officials talk or whatever and kind of get the POV. Because I'm pretty sure if you asked what's a full crew to every high school football coach right now, I'm not sure they could tell you.
That's good stuff. Coach Devon, I'm going to go to you next, and then Dwayne, I'm going to save you last because I know you're getting up on a time frame here, and then I want to give you a chance to make a big plug of something you got going on. So, Coach Devon, love it what we did here tonight.
Yeah, anytime you can conversate about, any subject that dealing with referees and coaches and sports in general, I think it's always good to have these type of discussions. And Coach Rapp was just saying, PG County does something at the beginning of the year where, we have an official come in and talk to us. But I think that it would be better in that setting if we had more of their crew there as well. Um, just to communicate and get feedback from the referees. Because one of the things that I think would also help high school sports, and Dwayne, you can tell me if this is something that can be done or can't be done. I think that most of these crews should stick together and do games together. I think that would help out a lot too when the official crew has worked together, know they get along with each other, they know everybody's rhythm. That would help out with the coaches during game days as well.
All right, Coach Dwayne, or Coach. Well, you just said you did
Yeah,
Coach too. So
yeah,
Dwayne,
right.
all right, let's give it to you. I want how you felt about this whole entire thing, and then I know you got a very good thing coming up here. So I want to give you a quick second to get a plug because I think you said you had to try to fly here some point in time.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys, logging in on our training meeting, coaches. Uh, I can't share my volume in both platforms, but absolutely, this is well presented and long overdue. Fact, shameless plug. Sunday, August 2nd, McKinley Tech High School, Northeast DC. Our organization, Just Us Sports Officials, will be having our inaugural Know to Grow Football Officials Clinic. On that agenda is a officials, coaches, roundtable discussion that's gonna hi Miss Rap during the lunch period. So we're going to continue this conversation. It's been something that's been on my heart and mind for several years now. And the best way I thought to unveil it would be at our first clinic. So some of you guys will be on the invitation list. If you don't have anything to do between, let's say, 12 and 3 and 2 Sundays from now, reach out to me and let me know. I'll be glad to put you on the panel so we can continue this conversation.
That
And thanks for the
sounds like
opportunity, guys.
Sounds like an amazing idea, Dwayne. I really do thank you for coming on. I know you're kind of a last minute fill-in, but I think it was a perfect last minute fill-in because you kind of know these guys a little bit, which is a unique perspective that maybe parents especially don't get to hear. That there is a little bit of friendly banter back and forth between the coaches and officials. It's not always negative, and I think hopefully as parents maybe check out this show, it's important for parents to understand that we do have these type of conversations that obviously you're just not a parent isn't going to hear that goes on. So great stuff. I
But
thank you
real
so
quick,
much for
it
coming.
is very
Yes.
challenging, Coach Devon, with the group that you guys use with over 350 officials to keep crews together. My group is much smaller, and even I have problems with it because everybody doesn't have the same availability. When you get to the collegiate level, you usually work on crews. But high school, you kind of left with, you may not have all 5 or all 6 guys available at the same time on the same days. So it becomes a little more challenging at the amateur levels, if you will, to keep crews together. There's one group out here that's been doing that. The other challenge is that you got balance of experience on these crews. You got your biggest game of the week. Do you go the crew format, or do you put your best officials on that game? So there are a lot of variables that go into, that first year guy that you really don't want to see, Coach Marcus. Probably don't want him on your rivalry game, right? Especially if it's for first place. So that's why it's a little more challenging to keep the crews together. But great idea. It's just very, very challenging to roll it out that way.
All right. Good stuff, Dwayne. I appreciate your time. Any before you go, any last second plugs you want to make? It's all yours.
think I did already. I sent you a
Okay.
picture of my flyer. It would have been
Yep.
nice to see that up. But yeah, we're
I
having
will
our
throw it
first
up.
football
I
clinic. It's
I will
open
throw it
to
up
the
for you. I
public.
promise. Once I get rid of some people from my
Yeah,
screen,
it's
it will
open
go
to
up
the
there. It's
public.
going to go up. You just won't be on to see it, but I am going to put it up for you. I promise.
It's a nominal fee. We kept it under $100. We're gonna have NC2A clinicians leading breakout sessions, position specific, and we're also gonna have planning to have some live scrimmages with some youth teams in the area that aren't under the school system umbrella that play kind of travel ball. So officials can get some live snaps, get some real time feedback, and it's just an intentional effort to help officials to grow and develop in the avocation. So I appreciate the invite, albeit last minute, and appreciate you giving me this opportunity to plug our product too.
I appreciate your time, and if you ever want to learn how to ice skate, man, I think you and I would do a hell of a job in a hockey game together. Because I like the way you ref. I can just tell by the way of
Yeah,
hearing you.
man.
It's like you have very similar styles, and I like that.
And Mike, tell my guy Bo Rogue up there at the state office, man. I said hello, man. It's one of my guys from the committee.
I'm coming in to say I should teach him how to skate, but that's an inside joke between me and my
Yeah, no, you do not. You do not want my daughter teaching you how to skate. Her skating methods are not approved by anyone. She like
Not
skates with her
approved.
knees. She skates with her knees like this somehow, and yet does not break her ankles. I do not know
Oh
how
wow.
she's ever. I don't know how. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it because she's it means somehow she watched it from me. Right? Yeah, Scooter's pointing at me like exactly. So all right, we digress. That's a whole different subject there. So all right, Coach, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. Let's see here. Let me go to let's see here. Ro, real quick, you got anything you want to plug before you say goodbye?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the platform, everybody. My name is Coach Rowe. I'm with the Lower Wildcats. Youth football, basketball, cheer. We have majorettes, soccer, basketball, any sport that you think of, we have. Registration right now for football open for ages 6 to 14, $100. Come out www.lbhec.org. Appreciate it.
All right, Ro, thank you so much for your time tonight. Great having you on here. Let's see. Let's go with Mike Mankey. I appreciate you coming on especially dealing with a whole bunch of other football coaches on here. So that was cool for you to do. You got anything you want to plug, Mike?
Not really. Although one thing I'll tell the coaches, one thing I remember from years ago, I was doing a game and an out-of-town team came in from Cleveland, and the quarterback, as the referee, introduced himself to me and told me if I had any problems, he'd take care of it with this team. And it was 15 years ago, and I still remember it, and it's the only time it's ever happened, but left a big impact that the quarterback came up to me to find me before the game.
All right. Love it. Thank you, Mike, for joining me on this. I'm glad that you're able to come on for sure. Coach Devon, real quick. I know you host a show that kind of talks about this stuff. Real quick, what's the show that you host, and tell everyone about it.
Well, I do this show with this guy. I think he calls himself the Midnight Rider. He's one of the hardest working man in podcast land, is what I call him. Hey, Midnight, what's going on, man? I didn't see you there.
It's all good. It's all good.
But we do a show called Pretenders or Contenders. Comes on Mondays at 7 p.m. after the drive time with Matty Ice on Monday evenings. And, we focus on high school sports, specifically PG County, but we're starting to branch out into more of the state of Maryland, where we cover all kinds of topics. Whatever is trending. Next week on the show, we have a young lady, Miss Diamond, that's coming on to talk about, the mental health aspect of playing, high school sports and dealing with the new landscape of college recruiting and NILs and things like that. So we touch on that part. We've had some college coaches come on and speak to the kids about the process of being recruited and things like that. And we talk trash. We talk trash with other counties and other coaches, and we just have a good time. So it's what we do Monday night, 7 p.m. Pretenders or Contenders podcast show.
Excellent, buddy. I do love it, and you can stay on here for real quick. Let me let Aaron give a little quick if he's got anything to plug, because he's been, and I appreciate your time coming on here today, being a loyal soccer fan. This man is also a very loyal Buffalo Sabres fan and a Buffalo Bills fan. This man bleeds Buffalo sports, so that'll be near and dear to a few of our sideline junkies' hearts for sure. So, Aaron, you got anything you want to plug or anything you want any last words?
No, just I'm in several recovery programs because of my Buffalo sports fans have passed the generational trauma down to my son. But just always remember, you may not agree with the ref's call, but respect the fact that it's his job to make it.
I like it, Aaron. All right, thank you so much, buddy, for your time and coming on. I hope you enjoyed it, and hey, we'll see you around, I'm sure.
Anytime, my pleasure, man.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, and I did bring in here real quickly one Midnight Rider, because I know he also has traveled around, and if I remember some of the stories correctly, I know his father also did some officiating back the day too. So, Midnight, I know you've been watching. What are your thoughts from what you saw here tonight? The conversations that you had. What'd you hear? Any good takeaways on your end of this thing?
Oh, man, it was a great show. The funny thing was, I think Mike Mankey?
Yes.
He was like, "Oh, there's a play that you remember that you missed or didn't get," and I'll never forget. I think I was in high school, and they gave me this job to referee flag football at the school up the street, and it was a championship game, and all I could see was a punch thrown. Now I think I saw the second punch, not the first punch. Because if my teammate or the other person that was refereeing with me, if he was in position, not to roll him under the bus, but if he was in position, we would have seen the first punch. But he wasn't. So I throw the kid out because I see the second punch. And I'll never forget, like, I got those people like walking all through the thing. Oh, you was cheating, blah, 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 blah. And it was just like, all right. So I know that one that I missed. 2, Coach Powell won't say this, but Coach Powell is always at the 40. He is always on the numbers. He's always... So that's the funny part. And it's funny you had that question because it was perfect. You was like, what are like the things you hear? So I sit in the stands. Some people like to get on the sideline. For me, I like to be in the stands and just hear the game. Like I got a seat. I'm second row, 40-yard line every time. Can't miss it. I tell people always, it's like I got season tickets. It's like it's like row 2, seat 5. That's mine. And I watch games and I listen around me. And it's so funny because you can hear first the parents complain, "Oh, what's going on? What is he doing?" And then like the official will make a sign or make a call. And they'll be like, "Well, what's that mean?" And it could be holding, it could be a face mask, it's whatever. And you're just like, you're so adamant that the coach doesn't know what's going on. I mean, that the coach is doing a bad job, but you don't even know what you're looking at. So how can you be the judge? So that's one of the great things of this whole thing that we get to do. I get to do. I always tell Coach, I would love to cover this game as a podcast journalist, but sometimes I just got to be a fan. Sit back, watch, give me a good cheeseburger, and just enjoy the show.
Coach, do you want a second to confront any of what he just said about you always being on the 40?
Yeah. I don't know what the guy talking about. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I respect all referees. I appreciate everything that they do, and I respect everything. I don't bother those guys at all. I just coach the game.
Oh, good stuff. All right, Scooter, real quick, as kind of the pseudo moderator this night. Sorry, I know sometimes maybe I jumped in there too, which I didn't say I was going to do, but I ended up doing it anyway. But
good, thank you.
What'd you think of it? What'd you think of this whole idea that we came up with?
Yeah, I think it's great, especially from an outside. I'm not into any of the youth athletics any longer, but it's just great to see. It was a conversation. Now there are questions, but it kind of rolled. It moved around. It just became a conversation, which is really important. And there's a little ball busting here and there, which is fun. But there's really a lot of great comments that we saw. And I think the most important thing that people don't realize about coaches and referees in youth sports are that they give up a lot of their time. Well, they get paid sometimes, not much probably, but they give up a lot of their time to help children experience life, to learn how to deal with consequences, how to deal with things as a team, and that goes to both the referees and the coaches. So I just want to thank who's here left, Coach Devon and Aaron, Maddie, for doing what you guys do out there, because it really does. It's meaningful to the community. So thank you very much.
All right, Showtime. I'm going to throw you on the spot because I didn't think about this when this would have been a funny question to bring up with everybody on here. So you have come to games that I have officiated before. What's it like being up in the stands when most people are there for their kid or they're there to cheer on some loved one, and they may ask you, "Who are you here watching?" and you have to say the ref. Like how do those conversations go when you're out there?
I don't remember much, but I mean, it's always nice just like people watching, listening in on conversations. And then because obviously I'll go to you after it being like, yeah, they thought this, they thought that. It's always very interesting. Just how people are so open about like complaining or immediately up to assumptions or going out to attack someone or misdeem someone because they didn't like it because it was against their kid. And it's like, there's like people around that like are actually related to the person you're putting so much hate on. So I mean, it's always kind of like, I don't know, at least not like humbling for me, but it's always humbling to watch people complain. I don't know, I mean, I be hating all the time, but not like that.
I think one of my favorite things when I have a game where I can tell like some shit's going on the other side, and it's just like I'm just like, oh my god! Like I'll look at Sarah and I'll just roll my eyes, and she just immediately starts laughing because she knows like I'm just like, oh Jesus, here we go.
Or like we'll like walk out and like it'll be silent for a little bit, and I'd be like, so that was something, because like we both got the vibe that it was just not. It was a very interesting game.
Aaron, you're still in here. Your son ref for a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
How did you handle that as a parent with being with your kid reffing? Like, were you able to control yourself?
For the most part, it was a lot of fun
situations?
because we usually got put on the same crew together. So like either he'd be on the side, a couple games we'd be the ARs. A couple times I'd be in the middle and he'd be on the side. And a few times, I think it was the one he was the most nervous about was when he was going to be the center ref and I was going to be, on the side as the adult on the crew watching. But he does a really good job. It was actually funny in that game. One of the parents watching was the school nurse at his middle school, and she didn't recognize him at first. Okay, she recognized me because I had my hat on and everything, and she made a comment like, "Oh, that ref must be new," and I like just turned to her. I'm like, "Yeah, he is kind of. When you recognize him, let me know." And kind of like, she was like. So yeah, it was kind of cool getting to see that, but no, he enjoys it. It's a fun job for kids. I mean, if you can get past the abuse, it's good money.
It's what I always tell the young officials is that you will make more money out here in 1 hour than you can make in 5 hours at Target.
Yep. Or Taco Bell.
Yeah, if you can, yeah. Well, especially now Taco Bell, you'll have explosive diarrhea. So, we got to be careful of that place.
It's if you can get past the abuse, good. It's a good job for a high school kid, college kid to have.
And that's why I brought the stat before, and I think it's important for everyone to know. Like only 30% of officials bow out after year 1. Very few make it to year 5. If you get to year 5, most of those officials then stay in for the long haul. But it's important for everyone to try to get that young official to year 5, those that need to. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some guys that I get the first game and I'm like, yeah, this is not meant for you. It just happens. So, Coach Devon, I want to give you a shout because you got the coaches on for this idea, for this show, and I got nothing but love for you as far as getting the coaches out here. This to me, this was gold. Midnight Rider knows I've been wanting to do something like this since I really got the show, and to finally have it put together and spend these 2 hours with this was just. it was everything that I wanted and then some. Like we did a whole segment that I didn't even have planned of just the back and forth, and it was lights out, good stuff, and it's great. So I want to thank you for your help on organizing all this.
Yeah, no problem. I tried to get coaches that I know would, first and foremost, be honest. Even though my buddy Steve was trying to be political, he ain't trying to piss off any referees. So that's what he does. So, but yeah, I wanted to give guys that was going to be honest and had different experiences. Even though Coach Rowe and Coach Marcus are both on my staff, we have a staff of 26 coaches between varsity and JV. They also coach multiple sports like I do, so they have a different perspective on things than just a football coach or say just a basketball coach. So I thought that was pretty good.
The boss man checking and giving us a great show, so I appreciate that, sir. So Midnight Rider, let's I'll come back to you one last time here before we wrap this thing up for tonight.
Well,
So
I got two separate questions. So first for Aaron, the question is, you got to do a game with your son. What was the palpitations? What was the smile? What was that feeling like walking on the field the first time with him?
Well, I mean, kind of the reason I got into reffing is he wanted to get into it. So he had signed up. I was helping him do the paperwork and find the training class, and I'm realizing I'm going to have to take him to these games. So I might as well take the class too, and we get to do this together. And so it was a lot of fun. I mean, just obviously our first couple times when we were working together, and brand new at this thing, and we're paired with some other ref. It's like we don't know the ref. So yeah, we were both the new guys, and it's we walk up together. We kind of look a little bit alike. Let me guess, you too. So no, but it's watching him run the game from the middle for the first time was the real proud papa moment, because that's where he's taking charge, telling the kids what to do. He commanded the field. Fun to see.
And before that, did you have any other officiating experience, or this was?
I played the game for years. I've been around soccer since I was, 5-6 years old.
Okay.
Played it up, even as an adult after college. Played it until I couldn't anymore. So I've been around the game a lot. But no, this was my first crack at refereeing. Was about 3 years ago.
Okay. Showtime, Sarah. At what point do you want to just go ahead and let the world know that you really love Aaron Judge with your whole heart?
We are not bringing that up right now. This is not an important topic.
Coach, wow, my God. I gotta get the schedule first and foremost. But for me to you, listening to you talk, man, this year, QB1, like what you expect from him, what you think you're gonna give you this year?
Well, he's shown it already this year. He's grown tremendously as a leader. He's out there controlling practice. He's been putting in the work. He's been going through a lot of camps, college camps, man. And he was second team All County last year. And the year before that, he just missed it. So he's shooting for first team this year, and I think he's going to do it. We have the weapons around him that's going to make his job easier. And I'm such a chill, laid back coach. I don't have to worry about the referees getting in his way. So it's going to be a great season for him.
Coach, you did see the comments, right? You did know that coaches thought that they were going to get fired just for not, you know about that, right?
Well, them coaches are some assholes. So and you gotta have a little bit of that in you to coach football, especially with me. So I'm not paying no attention to them.
Hey, Maddie. So you had Jack on, perfect. But in terms of your expectations, do you think this met or exceeded your expectation?
exceeded 100%. Everyone was very, like, like Coach Devon said, he hit a home run with the coaches. They were all interactive. Same thing with the officials. I thought we got some great stuff from, with all three guys across the spectrum that they officiate. It just, it did everything I wanted to do, and now the key will be is to be very curious to try to get this thing out there for other people to see, and hopefully realize that there is a lane for coaches and officials to get along, and try to, because I think we all have the same thing in common. We want to grow
Right.
the games. We want to grow the games that we love, and we need each other to be able to grow the games that we love. So it's important to remember that, and I think hopefully today starts that process of, oh yeah, they are in it for the right reasons, both sides of it, and start building those conversations.
All right, and my last question, Scooter Tiberius Jenkins, my guy, long time, baby, long time. So here's the question I want to ask you. I don't know if this was on your radar to do a podcast, to do this at this level, but you jumped in with both feet. Like, what is the thing that makes you keep wanting to come back every time you do this?
Oh, it's just fun getting out there. Maddie, Showtime, getting to talk to the fellas today, getting to see your pretty face. But seriously, no, it's a fun time. It's something that it's Monday evening, and I just love it. I love it's a community, and love talking to people. So it's great, and it's sports. It's sports. It's not anything else. Sports.
Hey, I
It's
need
not
you to come on
practice,
one
it's
Friday
sports.
with me.
What's that?
One Friday night. One Friday night. If you're not
Yeah.
busy, I need you to jump in with me on the freestyle because I need
I'm
your
in.
NASCAR.
Yeah, cool. We'll talk about whatever.
All right,
It's
cool.
freestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's cool. I'm in.
All
Go
right,
ahead, Matt.
let's wrap this bad boy up here. Coach, you know who you got coming on next week by chance yet, or still working on your show for next week?
No, I do know who. Like I said, and I'm feeling pretty bad right now that I forgot the young lady's last name, but I call her Miss Diamond. She's coming on next week to talk about the mental aspect of playing sports in high school, and also dealing with the landscape of the new recruiting era and NIL. So
Mm.
that'll be a different side of the conversation with sports. Is listen to what she had to say, reaching out to the kids, just speaking to the kids directly about some of the things they got to navigate and how to control their emotions and the ups and downs of the recruiting world. So looking forward to that conversation.
That's one of my favorite subjects when you get coaches on and you start talking about how they deal with the next level and dealing with NILs now. I think it's so, like, that's another thing they talk about. Parents need to hear about this on the coaches and the official side of it. They need to hear about dealing with this NIL stuff because it's just crazy right now. So that's a good one for sure.
Yep.
And I will give a senseless plug for Drive Time for next Monday because we've been talking. This was one episode that I've been plugging away at for a while, and then the next one comes up immediately next week. We'll be back at our regular 5 o'clock start time. We are going to be talking about how sports are pricing fans out, not only at the going to games. How they're doing it at home, and then the ridiculous amount of money that these teams are getting on these contracts. And then, oh, by the way, all the nice little deals that they get from the communities that they are playing in. So that is going to be a fun little topic for sure. Let's see, we got a little comment here, and my eyeballs cannot read it, so I got to bring it up here because she pulled it up here. I must say before we close out, as many times as Coach Powell has been on the number, surprisingly, he's never gotten a sideline warning penalty from Mookie.
Yeah. Well, that's the only reason Coach Mook knows is because Mook is only 5 yards behind him. So if Coach is on the numbers, Mook
Right.
is 5 yards behind
Right.
him.
He's right behind me, and he's right though. I've never been tossed out of a game. I've never gotten a sideline warning.
Nope.
They usually tell me Coach, you got to get back to the sidelines, and I just tell them, you know what? I forgot. I thought I had a helmet on too, so my fault.
That's awesome.
I think that's a good way to go about it. I think as long as if you know it and you're not trying to be an a-hole about it, you'll probably, at least I know for the ice hockey, not that we have to worry about coaches coming out onto the ice unless it's something really getting stupid. But for the most part, that I love having good banter with a coach. It makes the game go by so much easier for sure. All right, well that's 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So we're close to the 2 hours, darn it. We almost made it. So I knew we'd go probably a little long, but for everyone still here, Aaron, thank you. Sarah, thank you. Midnight Rider, thank you for jumping in here at the end. Gentleman Jack, I want to say thank you again to you, because again, this was also an idea that we kind of threw around way back when. So and he got me a great late substitute in Dwayne. That was like every time he said something, I was like, yeah, like that's what I do, but it's just a different sport. Like it's so cool to hear officials that kind of go about things the same way. So yeah, this show's been great, guys. And I will end it with what I always end the show with. Make sure that you tell your loved ones that you love them, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. But if you are here, wait, midnight. Before I do that, Midnight Rider, you got a show coming up tomorrow night. Let's plug Tuesday night real quick. I forgot about that. Go ahead.
Tuesday night is a doubleheader. So tomorrow at 6:30, we got Unapologetic Sports. They've been working out. If you haven't seen the promo pictures, they've been in the gym. The guns are big. They both got tattoos. One's got Flying Brian, the other's got Lee Ice. That's at 6:30. It's unadulterated sports at its best. And then at 7:45, we got a little show called the Tuesday Night Flight. There's the big guy KG, and he might have a co-host named Midnight Rider, but I don't want to talk about it too much because he talks about himself enough. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. Say what?
What'd you say? What was that, Sarah?
Classic Yankees fan. About talking.
Were
you talking about yourself, or were you talking about KG? I don't know.
KG's a Yankees fan.
Yeah.
I
didn't know if you were talking about him talking about himself. Like that's
no, that's me. I do the talking. I'm the third person guy. Yeah. So there we go.
I love it. All right, hold on. I see it. I see it. Hold on, I'm getting there. I got to type. This is text, I guess we'll call that. All right, there you go. There it is. You're on the scoreboard. There you go. For Aaron, who doesn't know, we usually run a ticker on the drive time, and Coach Vaughn, in case the one subject is how many times Showtime Sarah will say hate, and then how many times Scooter references Hartford throughout the show. So those are our running tickers that we usually have throughout the show. So that way you're in on the inside joke since you're still here. There we go. All right, enough said, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone in the comments. It was great seeing some new names and everything like that in the comments. So hopefully, hey, this gets you excited about what you see here on the Sideline Junkies Network. Because as Midnight Rider mentioned, we have lots of good shows here for you. So hopefully we'll see you. Maybe check out next Monday. We got 5 more NHL teams to go over. I think we have our first playoff team at the LA Kings. The Caps are coming up here soon too. So check all that good stuff out, because the Caps will be definitely one that we talk about for sure. So that's it. I'm going to end with that. So everyone give your little waves goodbye. And thank you guys for joining us so much. And we are out of here.